Welcome to our June 18th, 2024 Board of County Commission meeting. We're going to begin with with Pastor Harp giving us invocation, and our Pledge of Allegiance will be by Jeff Norwood, our Veteran Service Director. We have 9:05 public comment and 5:05 public comment. Additional items are consent 11, adopt a proclamation recognizing Martin Reeds in Martin County. Department Quasi-Judicial Number 3, request for approval for the revised master site plan for the Newfield Crossroads neighborhood, P172-018. Department 4, approval of the 7th Amendment to the commercial lease with Daher Aerospace. We have two consent agenda polls, both by Commissioner Hurd, which we'll take up first once we get rolling with our agenda, which is consent number 7, Business Development Board of Martin County Annual Report, and consent number 8, request for contracts renewals between Martin County and the Solar and Energy Loan Fund. All right, and we will begin if Commissioner Campy.
Just a question before we go to the vote. I know that there's a decent amount of people and some young members of our community that are here to discuss public hearing quasi-judicial number 1, request for revised major final site plan for the Treasure Coast Classical Academy. I know that they're pretty deep into the agenda. I was wondering if you could, if it was all possible to move them up so that they don't have to sit.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Wherever it fits, but just earlier than that late in the afternoon.
Okay, Commissioner Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Move approval of the agenda with the additional items of consent item number 11, Department Quasi-Judicial number 3, Department item number 4, with the two additional polls of consent 7 and 8, and that the chair does what he needs to do to move that item up. And that also this morning that we might hear a presentation or some discussion relative to bathtub beach and lifeguards and so on.
Okay, good. I plan to do that first.
Chair, I will second approval of the agenda.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Smith, seconded by Commissioner Hetherington. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, and if we could all stand for invocation by Pastor Jim.
Thank you. Let's pray. Father, as I've been sitting here this morning asking you how I should pray, Lord, I feel led to pronounce a blessing, not only over these that you have placed in leadership over our county and given direction and opportunity to lead us, Lord, into what you would have for us. But Lord, I want to pray this morning a blessing over Martin County for all of us who live here, for all of us who work here, for all of us who call this our home. Lord, I'm taken back to the Old Testament centuries ago when in the book of Numbers it says, "And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to Aaron and his sons, saying, Thus you shall bless the sons of Israel. You shall say to them, The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance on you and give you peace. So they shall invoke my name on the sons of Israel, and then I will bless them." Father, that is my prayer. That is my invocation this morning over these that I have mentioned, over us, Lord, as we live and serve and find our home and peace here in Martin County. Lord, would you do that for us today and continue on that we might reflect that peace, that blessing, not only to each one and in this community, but Lord, throughout this state, that this county might be known as the county that God you have blessed. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, guys. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to its republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Commissioners, if I may, administration, thank you very much, guys. I just actually wanted to take a second and say thank you. I appreciate your support that you have for my office and the veterans of this community. I know we get caught up a lot in our daily 9-to-5 work stuff. So I just want to take a moment and say thank you guys. I really do appreciate your support in the community and for me and my office. So thank you very much, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now we are going to do a proclamation for Parks and Recreation Month.
Good morning, Commissioners. Parks and recreation programs and facilities are an integral part of communities throughout the country and encourage physical activities by providing space for sports, hiking trails, swimming pools, and a myriad of other pursuits designed to promote active lifestyles. During July, recognized as Parks and Recreation Month, the Board acknowledges the benefits derived from Parks and Recreation resources, commends the Department's work, and encourages citizens to take advantage of the amenities and programs offered in Martin County. And here to accept, we have Kevin Abate, who's the Director of our Parks and Recreation Department. Here.
Good morning, Kevin Abate, Parks and Recreation Director, and to my right is Kevin Kerwin, also known as K2. He's the Deputy Parks and Recreation Director, and a few folks from the team I will acknowledge. Todd Faust, who's been with the organization for 17 years, or with the Parks for 17. Nancy Johnson, Marketing Manager. Jessica Ballish, 12 years with the department. Kevin with 34 years in Parks, and
Let everybody get a chance to take a
and so they'll be in the photo today, and I'll be going on my 40th year this year in August for Parks. So it's been a great journey.
You were 10 when you started.
Yeah. I am proud of this team over the last 14 years with the county. In case to remind the board and the public that we are accredited through the National Recreation and Parks Association's accreditation process. There are only, I looked last week, there's only 204 agencies of the 12,000 publicly funded agencies in the United States that are accredited. So it's 0.017%. I attended the Best of the Best ceremony last year with Nancy to accept our award, and we have 27 years of accreditation, and this team is the team that makes it happen. But summer is here. The team's doing really well throughout the county. Right now, we're employing over 250 summer positions throughout our various assets. We have, this year, we have 150 free swim lessons through our grant programs and summer camps. The water park should expect to see about 60,000 people attending the water park. The golf course is on a record pace. They sold 640 summer memberships. This is all about summer. We're hosting our busy beaches with surf camps. Our park operations team in the heat of the summer are dealing with more than 1,400 acres of active park land to cut the grass, and they're dealing with over $2 million of products that they're actually taking care of. I also looked this morning just to see what kind of volume we had. With the team, we produced over 3,700 requests for service in the last year to date for the county. With our programs this year, or last year, we had 220 kids that participated in our after-school programs with the Children's Services Council. And this summer, we have 425 youths and teens participating in our summer camps. And all of those programs are free to the public, which is even more astonishing. Last year, we hosted and produced over 24 community events with close to 16,000 residents and visitors attending. Those are just the things we do. And then our log cabin senior program is also doing great with over 350 annual participants. And all of those efforts are being marketed by Nancy Johnson. With our 44,000 subscribed emailers, she sent out over 72 email campaigns last year, managing 12 social media accounts with almost 73,000 followers. And her social media account has just a normal reach beyond of about 3.8 million annually, beyond those posts that get a separate million from sharing. So overall, this team to my right has done an outstanding job over the past, well, it's my 14 years. Most of them have been with me, and I'm proud for all that they've done and all that we do to serve this great community from Martin County. So thank you.
Our Parks Department is astonishing, and this is why. Thank you.
All right, let's take a few. Yep.
That's a lot of years of experience up there.
Yeah, right?
Smiling.
And there's a couple others that could push decades. Thank you. Nice job. K2, nice job.
Sounds like a great ski company.
Yeah, right? Or a mountain.
A2s.
Okay, now we're going to go a bit off script. Before we do public comment, we do have a couple of speakers that want to speak about the lifeguard situation, which was explained to me very well the other day. So we have actually the chief here to give us an update on that, so we all understand exactly what we're talking about. So, please.
Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, Chad Chancherly, Fire Chief, Martin County Fire Rescue.
Division Chief Christian Montoya, Martin County Fire Rescue.
Matt Rush, Fire Rescue Administrator.
Okay, hold on. Don, did you want to say?
No, go ahead.
Okay. All right, so first, I just want to thank you for allowing us to come here. We're really just here, we're not asking for anything, there's no request. It's just an update on the operation of Ocean Rescue. There's a couple things I want to talk about today. I want to talk about, one, recruitment for Ocean Rescue lifeguards, and two, I want to talk about the operation as far as the staffing. So first, let me start with just the staffing of the operation. As you know, over the past year plus, Bathtub Beach has been shut down. And with the abundance of lifeguards that we have to cover all of those open beaches, I was able to do modifications to their schedule, be an employee advocate for staffing, and we typically run 8-hour days. Our 8-hour days run from 9 to 5. That's been the history of Ocean Rescue. Since we did shut a beach down, it gave me a little more extra staffing. We're able to switch to 10-hour days, and I was able to modify on both sides of that 9 and the 5. So either we would start an hour early, close an hour later, depending on the summer months, and then we would kind of manipulate that schedule a little bit. However, when we knew Bathtub was going to open back up, which we did, then I had to go back to our original 8-hour schedule. So that's with just our staffing. If you notice, the lifeguards were out there a little longer. It's because we changed the 10-hour days. Now we have to revert back to the 8-hour days because we have to account now for Bathtub Beach. That's scheduling side. So let me talk about recruitment. I'm always here talking about recruitment and retention. Recruitment and retention is an extreme challenge, and I don't care what department we're talking about. But today, obviously, it's just going to be Ocean Rescue. Ocean Rescue, our lifeguards, are some of the most professional lifeguards that we have in the state of Florida. We have the most beautiful beaches in the state of Florida, and a level of standard that we have here for the care of our residents, it's top notch, and that is never going to change. But back to the recruitment. Our lifeguards, we're probably one of 3 agencies in the entire state that are certified as lifeguards and certified as EMTs. Now, with that comes some challenges. Usually, when you find somebody that is trained at the level of an EMT, typically they're all firefighters. So usually, when we have an opening for Ocean Rescue and we post it wide, we have maybe 2 or 3 candidates that come up to actually take our first swim test. So there's a series of testing they have to go through to meet the standard before we bring them on board and start training them. Now, when we have those, say 3 candidates, maybe 1 will actually pass the swim test. Now that's all I'm working with. If I have 2 openings, I'm still short. If you do not evolve with the practice of looking at your recruitment intention and change your practices along the way, just to account for what's happening out there industry-wide, this isn't unique to Martin County. This is the industry of Ocean Rescue. Finding career lifeguards is something of an anomaly. You don't really find them. So you learn how to operate within that. So what we have done now is we take certified lifeguards, we put them through the same swim test, but they do not have to have the EMT certification. So what's that mean to the public? We still put them through the same testing, the same process. The standard has not changed. The difference is now we train them to what we call an emergency medical responder, which means we train them medically to the level that we want, from 0 all the way up to when they're functioning on the actual beach itself. They still go through the same arduous testing process. They still have the same medical needs that are needed on the beach itself. When the medical needs arise on the beach, that's when 911 is initiated. That's when the ALS, Advanced Life Support Response, comes. That's when fire rescue comes with the ambulance, and that's when they come with the paramedics. That's where the transition happens. As far as now recruitment, I told you when we did lifeguards that held the certification of EMT, I had maybe 2 or 3. Now, After we've been doing this for probably a few months now, we have opened it up one position. We have at least 20 people that are now applying for the job. Now I have fixed the recruitment issue, but I had to modify how we actually operate, but the level of service is the exact same. Our lifeguards are top-notch, and as long as I'm here, they will always be top-notch. Our community will always have that standard that we achieve to keep and always push the limit to the next level. So that's just kind of a brief overview, but I'm here to take any questions that you may have in addition to that.
Anybody have any questions?
explanation.
It was, like usual, you're right to the point, and we, so, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Have a good day.
Okay, now, Don.
No, the chief took care of it. I'm good, sir. Thank you,
Oh, I thought
sir.
you were going to do your,
Oh, yes, it's now for time for public comment? Yes.
I'm sorry.
Change hats. Since we are in election season, politicking is prohibited, which is defined as advocating the election or defeat of a candidate for public office, either partisan or nonpartisan. This includes the use of words, dates, signs, props, and/or wearing apparel that convey a message of support for a person or group of persons. Thank you.
Okay. So we are going to start with Nathan Ames, followed by Mr. Tom Pine.
You'll have 3 minutes, and at the, with a buzzer that will alert you, you have 15 seconds left.
Morning.
I'm sorry I left that part
Thank
out.
you for,
Come closer to the mic.
oh, sorry. Can you hear me? A little better? I'm Nathaniel Ames. Admittedly, I'm a layperson to the given issue of the approval of TCCA's expansion. But as a parent of several scholars that attend there, and just a casual observance of the car line, if you will, the daily car line challenge, which is well worth it, by the way. For the city of Stewart, Martin County, the surrounding cities and communities that TCCA serves. If it's not already clear, I believe it's abundantly clear that TCCA needs additional space, as it were, to accommodate all the scholars that they serve and or future scholars that they will serve. So I'm here with my son Austin to support that effort and appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Pine will be followed by Mr. Rob Ranieri.
Good morning, Commissioners. First off, it appears the speakers in the back of the room are not working once again. My name's Tom Pine. I live in Jensen Beach, Florida. I've been a resident of Martin County for over 50 years. Today in the consent agenda, the Commission will approve $11,701,102.42 spent between May 20th and June 2nd, 2024, without identifying the payees or the purpose of the payments. With the help of like-minded people, here are some of the hidden items in the consent agenda today. The annual report of the Martin County Business Development Board is mostly financed by taxpayers at a cost of $450,000 a year. It would be nice if the taxpayers of Martin County were shown how the Business Development Board was spending our tax dollars. Why is it a secret? Or the renewal of a contract between the county and Solar Energy Loan Fund, which provides assistance to low and medium income residents, unlike the CRA Property Improvement Program, which gives grants to some of the Martin County's wealthiest commercial property owners to make everything look prettier. A retiring Martin County Sheriff has been working hard to make sure he's remembered as being tough on crime. Recently, the Sheriff's Department made several arrests at massage parlors, and now he's turning his attention to the homeless living among us. Tent City Helpers, a local organization, volunteer organization, started in Martin County, Florida, December 20, 2015, and in June 30th, 2016, they became a not-for-profit business and with 2 weeks obtained federal nonprofit status. Some local officials are trying to paint the homeless population in Martin County as people coming from out of county or out of state, or even some immigrants from out of country. According to Tent City Helpers, 95% of their clients are local. They know because some of their volunteers were teachers right here in Martin County. Once a week, volunteers from Tent City Helpers goes around to several pre-designated spots where they bring snack packs, hot meal to go, and supplies that one might need to fix a tent. Now our Martin County Sheriff's Department is in the process of issuing trespass warnings to any unauthorized camping throughout Martin County. A large group of campers by Lowe's and Stewart were recently served. This says loud and clear, do not get confused. The homeless population is exploding throughout the country. And here in Martin County, we're going to start treating our fellow man worse than most people treat their dogs. Don't tell me about your Christian values. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Ranieri will be followed by Nikki Campbell.
Morning, Commissioners. For the record, Rob Ranieri, CEO for House of Hope. Just wanted to weigh in. I see you have an agenda item today on affordable housing with the review of county properties. First, I want to give a tip of the cap to Martin County staff, George Stokes, Michelle Miller, and many others, working very hard on the issue of affordable housing, and certainly their efforts are greatly appreciated. Part of what you'll discuss today, I guess, is what to do with some of the properties that the staff has seen fit for use in affordable housing. I'm sure it'll be discussed at the item, but we do have a new Martin County Community Land Trust, thanks in a large part to the dedication of Commissioner Jenkins. I have the privilege of sitting on the board of that organization, so it's a great opportunity and option to create a pathway to affordable housing for many people in our community that need that support. I'm sure Habitat for Humanity will be discussed as well, another fantastic organization that's been doing great work for decades. So I just want to keep this issue of affordable housing sort of in the front of all your minds. At House of Hope, we're seeing it as, if not the largest, certainly one of the top two largest issues that our community of residents are faced with. Commissioner Campy, a while ago at a joint meeting, talked about his starfish theory and all the different tools we need to put in a toolkit to deal with this issue. That certainly remains true today. There's an organization called Green Mills that has submitted a proposal to the city of Stewart to hopefully partner with them on some property they have to put about 130 truly affordable apartments where the target audience would be people, families earning $50,000 or under $50,000 annually. So all of these solutions are starting to present themselves. A lot of it is the dialogue that all of you have had on this commission. Certainly, we appreciate that effort. I just want to urge you all to kind of keep your foot on the gas on this issue. It's not going to get solved without support from county staff and from this board, and we have a lot of work to do ahead of us. But I want to thank you for your efforts to this point. Have a great day.
Thank you, Rob. Ms. Campbell will be followed by Sam Mahoney.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Nikki Campbell. I live in the city of Stewart, and I've lived there since 1994. Good morning. I'm Nikki Campbell, city of Stewart. I've lived here since 1994. I'm here this morning to ask you to return the ocean rescue lifeguards to the extended hours they had before the bathtub beach opened and then it closed 2 days ago. That is, hours 7:30 in the morning till 5:30 at night. I'm a widow who took up daily ocean swimming several years ago at Stewart and Jensen beaches, and nearly every morning at 7:30, the swimmers are there in the ocean, especially these hot months of the year. I and others like me rely heavily on the lifeguards to keep us safe. They alert us to dangerous conditions, preventing accidents and drownings primarily. They also point out riptide areas for the day. They're always watching for sharks. And every 2 weeks, the lifeguards have in-water training that is very impressive. In summary, I, as well as other swimmers, noticed that during the bathtub beach, when it was open, the lifeguards were not at Jensen or Stewart. They came in 1.5 hours later. For the past year, they have been there at 7:30 in the morning until 5:30 at night. If it were to continue, as they would like to have with shorter hours, it means that we then lose an hour and a half of a lifeguard at 7:30, and there are a lot of people swimming because of the hot weather. We get out there early in the morning. This is creating a dangerous situation every day. I sincerely hope that the lifeguard schedule goes back to the way it has been for the past year. The past year, we've had 7:30 to 5:30. And this morning, I heard the chief mention that there are possibly 20 applicants now, so that we will have enough staffing to cover that so that they can do the extended hours. That would not be one of the issues about why they could not do it. I thank you for your attention. I appreciate it very much, and thank you for the jobs that you do.
Sam Mahoney is followed by C.C. Schofield.
Morning, y'all. My name's Sam Mahoney. I'm a 31-and-a-half-year lifeguard retiree from Martin County, 58-year resident in Jensen Beach. All the things that Nikki said are true about the 10-hour days. 99% of the time, something really goes on serious for the day. It's at the 4:30 time to 5. There's a large contingent of crowds that come out afterwards in the evening, and they tend to need that attention as well. I also hear that there's the morning folks that are coming out as well, and with all the growth that Martin County's had, this is has grown as well. What I came in today was about the high risk. We acquired high risk at the beach in 2005 through a big effort of the union and the county and fire rescue at the same time. They all worked together and embraced that. And as far as the high risk, what it represents is a wide variety of things, from bloodborne pathogens to it's a job for a young man, such as the sheriff's department and fire rescue as well. Without high risk now, they're going to need to be working until they're 60. You want retention. It's hard to be a lifeguard at 60 years old. And I can tell you this much now because I'm still out there running and swimming, and I'm grateful that I don't have to be responsible for what these young guys are doing. But I have so many things that I've seen in this growth of the county, and the number of guards that we have now I think might be around 15 to 18 guards in staffing, but I've watched this county grow from engineering, administration, utilities. It's immense how much growth you've seen over 58 years, the whole development of all of it. But let's remember, there's only 18 lifeguards to this day, and there's too many when bathtubs close. But bathtub will open back up again, and you do want these employees retained. You don't want to let them go and then open up Bathtub Beach and be looking for more employees. Also, I'll touch base on this new training facility with fire rescue. Boy, what a feature. And what a budget. And the sheriff's department's a huge budget too, but ocean rescue is a small part of fire rescue. And for these responses to take away the high risk from this group that took so much effort for them to get it. And let me tell you, I worked the day at Stewart when my fellow colleague paddled out, and just before he got in the water, I said, Dan, there's sharks around that. They're jumping and they're swarming around that kite border. But he had set the radio down, grabbed that surfboard, and went out, that paddleboard, and brought in that victim who passed on the way in from loss of blood, all by himself. I also have brought in 2 victims out of the area at Jensen Beach. 2 grown women, one passed, and the sister was holding on to the other one who has already passed. I went out by myself and brought those in. Huge shore break, really rough day. I've lost a body at the shore break and managed to get the other one in.
Sir, your time is up. Thank you.
I would love to speak with all y'all. Or
Your time is up.
I'll come back.
Thank you.
But this high risk taking it away was just.
Sir, your time is up.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
CC, followed by Michelle Miller. Or Michelle Miller?
Good morning. Liquefied natural gas, LNG, has 600 times the energy of natural gas. Ignited flammable vapors can travel with the wind, cause flash fires, pool fires, vapor cloud explosions, and levies. Fortress Energy Partners was established in 2014 to build a nationwide small-scale LNG production and distribution business using rail corridors. On September 3rd, 2014, FECR expressed interest in moving containerized LNG from FEP's new LNG production facility in the Hialeah Rail Yard in Miami to the Bowdoin Yard in Jacksonville. On September 24th, AAF Holdings applied for $1.75 billion in bond financing to establish passenger rail service in the company's transportation corridor, with stations located in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, and Orlando. And on December 31st, American LNG Marketing, an FEP affiliate, requested DOE authorization to export LNG transported by rail in the same corridor from Miami to ports of Miami, Everglades, Palm Beach, Jacksonville, and Canaveral. On March 3, 2016, the FRA responded in part that LNG rail transportation presented unique risk. No railroad in the U.S. was transporting LNG. Proposed routes traverse congested, highly populated areas with frequent highway grade crossings and eventually share routes with 110-mile-per-hour high-performance passenger trains. So how did FRA's LNG team know about All Aboard Florida, now Brightline? FRA held biweekly LNG conference calls with FECR and asked if LNG trains would be sharing tracks with passenger train services, and how would they ensure the trains would not interfere with each other's schedules. FECR said it was not operating passenger service on the line at the time, that routes would host AAF passenger trains in months and years ahead south of Cocoa, and PTC would be implemented prior to starting the service. On June 7, 2016, FECR revised LNG shipments to be limited to ports of Miami and Everglades as a pilot initiative to gain experience with the rail move. And FRA approved 100,000-gallon-a-day shipments beginning May 9, 2017. Several churches and schools have been designated as potentially sensitive targets along the transportation routes. FECR advised that in the event of a leak, crews would stop the train, communicate the situation with the dispatch center, summon emergency responders, and position themselves in an upwind position. In other words, run. If FECR freight shipments are currently scheduled by Grupo Mexico and passenger rail by Brightline, what could go wrong? All reference entities except Grupo were affiliates of Fortress Investment Group, a New York hedge fund, and the two projects are mutually dependent. Thank you.
Ms. Michelle Miller, followed by T. Mark Green. That
Should have brought your special guest up with you.
There's a good chance he'll come this way. My name is Michelle Miller, and I am not only a parent of a TCCA scholar, but also a school board member. With me is Philip D. Berard V, a future TCCA scholar. Today, I'm here to support the expansion of TCCA. Not only was Cove Road supposed to be expanded 10 years ago, we have added, I think, 9 neighborhoods within a 2-mile radius. That's Salerno Reserve, that's the one at Darling and Willoughby, Willoughby and Cove, Cove Royale. There are all sorts of neighborhoods going in, and no schools have been added. Now, I'm asking for my son's school to be expanded so we can go K-12 without all of the students in one building. We are currently in one building, which means we have 10th graders with kindergartners. They're sharing bathrooms. Well, they're not supposed to be sharing bathrooms, but accidents happen, right? So we want to build a bigger school. We do not have any Martin County schools that are currently being proposed to be built, right? We have added all of these neighborhoods with more students with nowhere for them to go. We are asking, with our new 15-year charter that was given by the school district, to expand our school and we'll take some of the burden of Martin County schools, right? We're going to take these students for free. We are a choice school, which is great. We do not charge like the Pine School or Redeemer or any of these other private schools, and we're giving an excellent education. So what I'm asking is, yes, we might have a car line issue, but what school in Martin County doesn't, right? You pull in front of Pinewood. Willoughby has a line of cars easily 100 long, about 45 minutes before their dismissal. If you pull in front of Crystal Lake, I think that's 96th Avenue out there, there's a line of cars that's causing traffic issues. So with the expansion of our school, we will also have an expanded car line, and I think the only right thing to do for our community is allow this school to expand on our dime, not on yours. So we are here today to support. Sorry, we've made a little commotion in the back, but I greatly appreciate your time, and I hope to Jesus you will approve this today. Thank you so much.
Okay, so our next three speakers are on this particular agenda item. So I'm going to give you the option. Would you prefer to wait until, which I can bring the agenda item up now and then speak to the actual agenda item, or we can continue on and close out public comment now, or would you prefer to do your comment now?
Wait.
Well,
Yeah, wait.
okay, let's wait then. All right, so now, do we have any other public comment that's not specific to the Treasure Coast Academy? Seeing none, we'll close out public comment at this point, and I guess we'll do commissioner comments, if you'd like.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning. Not 100% sure. I always thought I knew what the protocol was for our voting delegation for NACO, National Association of Counties. I will not be able to attend this year. And if we don't have another commissioner going, my understanding is we need to, from the chair, have a letter that goes, I think, to Florida Association of Counties that gives either Sarah Powers, if she's going, or another staff person the right to vote on our behalf relative to the presidential selection. So I'm not sure exactly what the nuance is, whether it does go to, I'm pretty sure it goes to FAC, and then FAC has the complete package of letters from other counties that can't attend either, and then we vote as a block relative to the presidential selection. So I don't know if you need a motion or something to authorize.
Presidential selection of NACO, not the president of the United States.
For NACO.
So are you asking you need an alternate, either a commissioner or staff? Is that what-
Yes, to give the chair the ability to produce a letter that meets the needs of NACO and/or FAC to allow our staff member or commissioner, other than myself, to go and vote if they are there.
Is that a motion?
Yep.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any other comment? We have a motion and we have a second by Commissioner Smith and Commissioner Heatherington. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Next item, and we can either do it at the end of the day, probably better to do it at the end of the day. I would like to have a conversation about bathtubs separate from ocean rescue, but there are some issues relative to it being open, closed, how we're going to handle that, that I would like to get some further conversation on with the board about bathtub itself. And then I think, Dawn, and talking to the chief, I think it would be helpful maybe for budget, or probably budget would be the best time, is to prepare a conversation on, is there anything additional we should be doing with ocean rescue, staffing-wise, time-wise, and so on. So today may not be the day to do that, but I think during budget time, we should be prepared at least to have the conversation. What does it look like? How many, if we were to open up those extra hours, what would that look like relative to staffing, and how many employees would we have to deal with, and so on. So can we do that?
I would agree.
Yes, we can. Obviously, some of these can be suggestions for us to bring for the budget presentation, which you'll have a hearing in July. And that would be my suggestion regarding any staffing issues, as you have other things that come up that you would like us to consider for your options, and when we look at budget and budget reductions and increases. In addition, if you want, at the end of the day, we can have Public Works here to talk about, I believe, the construction sequencing that's going on in MacArthur and how we handle that. And then you can provide direction or not at that time.
Great, thank you. That's exactly what I'd like to see happen. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Heatherington.
I just have a couple quick acknowledgments. It's a great day, to sit up here when you are able to solve some resident issues and problems. So recently in my district, about a year or so ago, it came to my attention, there was a retired senior citizen, 88-year-old female, widowed for 20 years, who had been living all summer last summer, in triple digits with no air conditioning. So Michelle Miller and Health and Human Services, certainly we tried to work to fit that in the box. This income restricted, insurance is on the rise. So I started reaching out to some nonprofits and businesses in our community. And I just wanted to give them some recognition. We had AC Care, which is a local air conditioning business, who really stepped up and, provided a solution. And part of that, they provided the funding, and Council on Aging provided a significant amount of funding. We had a private donor which had just found out through the grapevine that this person needed help. And this person is Big D Paving from Palm Beach County even. So he provided a significant donation. So I wanted to thank him, and the Firefighter Benevolent Association. So those three, Council on Aging, Big D Paving, Firefighter Benevolent, and AC Care, significant contributions to help this resident who would have lived another summer in 100-degree temperatures without air conditioning. So I wanted to just say thank you to them. And again, it's a great day when you're able to resolve a problem for a resident. So I appreciate their help.
Cool. Commissioner Campy.
I'm okay.
I'm set.
Okay, as far as my world, hopefully Bridge Road will be open this afternoon after our little breeze that we had down there and knocked over our precious trees.
The team did an excellent job of standing those up.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I think we're going to probably lose a few, that we need to come up with a plan of what we're going to do in the future, so.
Just for, how many were knocked over? How many?
22.
22.
7.
Explain what you're talking about. Some people don't know.
The ficus trees, which are not banyan trees, they're not the banyan species of ficus. They're actually nitida. 22 of those were knocked down during the tornado that went down Bridge Road, that kind of went right down Bridge Road. Unfortunately, it also tore up a lot of our foliage that were planted on our Bridge Road Improvement CRA project. Those poor silver buttonwood were snapped off at the ground. So we've got to address that. But 22 of those trees went down. They do go down during hurricanes. I've personally been dealing with that for 35 years of my life. Every hurricane that comes down, 2 or 3, 4 of them go down. We've never had this many go down, and we've never had this much physical breakage and damage to the trees. Some of them, I was looking at the tree, were actually screwed out of the ground, and there's really no root structure left. So, we're doing this best we can to stand them back up, but the survival, I'm just concerned that a few of them aren't going to make it. But we're doing the best we can. We got it cleaned up, but it was an amazing path. It was dead straight, and it was not only the trees. The trees is what got everybody's attention, but they're a block to the north and a block to the south of the path. There were roofs taken off and damaged. People's personal property were damaged. Thank God nobody got hurt. But it wasn't just the trees. It was.
Well, there was a nursery school that had 150 students in it at the same time. So congratulations to them, and thanks to those staff members and teachers at that nursery school. It's not like they could put all the kids in the basement. There are no basements, so they had to have 150 students and staff, and if you saw the pictures, that tornado hit that building, smashed their windows and everything else. So you can imagine as a parent, if you had your precious child in a nursery school and then you got the call that everybody was safe. So it was a lot of blessings that day.
I had 3 of my granddaughters in dance camp. It's the little dance studio next to Scooters in the Winn-Dixie Shopping Center. And part of the roof came off with all these little kids in that, and that had to be horrific experience for them. So
Next year, they're going to do a show of Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, no doubt. Commissioner Smith.
And so I think, Harold, to the conclusion of that, and from what I've heard, and we heard at the joint meeting, that the organizational structure that came together instantaneously and responded was really amazing. And I think that just goes to prove that all the training, all the work, all the effort and energy that goes into dealing with any kind of issue, you name it, whatever you want to call it, We have great staff. We have great coordination effort with all of our various agencies that we work with, and Dawn and your staff and legal and everybody else did an amazing job doing what they need to do. Great.
One little hitch to the get-up is, hurricane, we got a couple of days heads up to actually secure some equipment and mobilize and get ready. This is not that case, and so there was a lot of scrambling on a lot of different, this was a team effort between a lot of different contractors, town of Jupiter Island, the county, fire rescue, the sheriff's department, and everybody came together and got it done, or getting it done, so anyway. All right. Don.
Yeah, if you just, I have to weigh in just a little bit. I was going to bring it up at the end of the day, but it's important to note that it is a team effort on this. The tornado, of course, ripped through Bridge Road as described. We have an agreement that the county does with the town of Jupiter Island to allow them to even though they're in the public right-of-way, the town really manages those trees cooperatively with us. Typically like FEMA events, they just want you to cut them down and remove it. That's not the case here. So one of the things fire rescue did right away is establish a contingent out on the island, a rescue and a fire equipment. Our public works working with the Jupiter Island secured a pathway so we could get in and out if we needed to. Certainly was not safe to have vehicles come through there or pedestrians, as in addition, our bridge crossing guards were ripped out. So, and it's also important to know just that the town actually hires all the contractors. They're all working for Jupiter Island. And it's fortunate that we have a nice small town landscaper down in Hope Sound that was the only one to secure a crane to actually get the work done. So anyway.
Employed by the county. He was employed by the.
It was employed by the town of Jupiter Island. I just want to, given some of the stuff we read online, that I just want to make sure you understood there was a very cooperative effort, and thank to the contractors that came in and worked closely with both fire rescue, public works, and the town staff. Really, Stuart Trent, it's been really great to work with. So thank you.
No doubt. Okay. And with that, we are going to move on to public hearing quasi-additional number 1. Elizabeth.
Where is she? Yes, she is. She's coming. I see her out there. I see she's actually running, which is good.
Ex parte.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Well, I was waiting for everybody to get here. So.
Elizabeth, we saw you running. Good for you. Like that effort.
Okay, do we have any ex parte? Commissioner Smith?
I do, and they're filed.
Commissioner Heatherington?
I do, and they're filed.
I do, and they've been filed. Commissioner Campbell?
I do, and they've been filed.
I do, and they've been filed.
Okay.
Echo in here.
Everybody like to stand and be sworn in that's going to give testimony?
Raise your right hands. Do you swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Okay, and all the proper paperwork has been turned in with your resume and all that? Yes, no, yes?
I am turning it in now.
Okay.
So copy of my work history, copy of my work history and agenda items turned in as Exhibit 1, and the applicant's resume is turned in.
You're going to have to speak up.
Exhibit 2.
It's hard to hear you.
Sorry. Copy of my work history and agenda items turned in as Exhibit 1, and a copy of the applicant's work history is turned in as Exhibit 2.
Is there any interveners?
There are no interveners.
Okay, did I miss anything?
Proof of public notice was turned in at the LPA meeting.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, please proceed.
Okay, good morning. Elizabeth Noggle, Development Review Administrator. We're here this morning to talk about Treasure Coast Classical Academy. This is a request for a major final site plan approval by Treasure Coast Classical Academy, Inc. This is a request for major final site plan approval to construct a 31,700 square foot high school addition and the associated infrastructure. The site is 19.48 acres. It's located at 1400 Southeast Cove Road on the south side of Southeast Cove Road, approximately 0.3 miles west of Southeast Alt Avenue in Stewart. The existing future land use is estate density 2 UPA, and the zoning is RE 1/2A. So this is a straight zoning project. The existing parcel of the Treasure Coast Classical Academy is outlined on the left picture. On the right picture is the extended parcel. Again, this proposal is for 31,700 square foot high school building. The proposal also includes expanded internal queuing lanes internal to the site, an expanded right turn deceleration on Southeast Cove Road, a new turf field, additional parking, and a revised PAMP for the wetlands on the new parcel. That's better. This is the site plan with Southeast Cove Road on the right side. I've highlighted the existing school and the existing parking and the existing entrance to the site at the signalized entrance. The proposed school is referenced here, and the new turf field and new parking, and the expanded queuing lanes that circulate around the site with the drop-off for the school children. Development review staff has reviewed the application and does find it in compliance with all applicable regulations, and the comprehensive growth management plan is detailed in the attached staff report and does recommend approval. Public hearing was held before the local planning agency on June 6, 2024. The LPA recommended approval 3-1. And recommended action is to move that the board receive and file the agenda item and all attachments, including the staff report, as Exhibit 1. Move that the board adopt a resolution approving the revised final site plan for Treasure Coast Classical Academy, and move that the board approve the amended PAMP. Happy to answer any questions, and the applicant is also here with their team.
Any questions for staff?
Not yet.
Seeing none.
Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Bob Raines. I'm a land use attorney with the Gunster Law Firm here on behalf of Treasure Coast Classical Academy. We appreciate the opportunity to be here this morning, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for also accommodating our parents and students this morning by getting us up a little earlier. We appreciate that. You know, there's a lot of misconceptions that go forward with what items that come before you, and I don't think a lot of the public realizes a lot of times that there are items that whether you like them or not, you have to approve because they're by right property rights. And what that means for the public is that all we have to do under by right situation is show that we meet the rules and regulations of Martin County, the comprehensive plan and land development regulations. And that's the item that's before you today. This is a straight zoning. We're not asking for a rezoning. We're not asking for a future land use amendment. We're not asking for a PUD. This is a by right request before this board this morning. So our job today is to prove that we meet all the rules and regulations and provide evidence to that fact. And that's the only question before you today, whether we do that job. And I think we'll do that. I'd like to start out to do that by stating for the record that we have received the staff report and we agree with the staff recommendation of approval. And I would like to begin by asking Ms. Noggle a couple of questions, if it's okay with you, Mr. Chairman. So, Ms. Noggle, you gave your work history, correct?
Correct.
And as part of the staff report, there's a section called Comprehensive Plan, Section F, Comprehensive Plan, which states that, let me find it here, that there has to be a determination of compliance with the Comprehensive Growth Management Plan requirements by the Growth Management Department, and that's your job to do, correct? And I'd like to read the recommendation that came forward with respect to Section F, whether this complies with the Comprehensive Growth Management Plan. And the staff has reviewed this application and finds that it complies with the LDRs as detailed within the report. Staff recommends approval of this development application as consistent with the guidelines and standards of the applicable comprehensive plans, goals, objectives, and policies as implemented in the LDR. Is that your recommendation?
Correct. Once we have a compliance findings from all of the development review reviewers, departments, that is when that compliance statement is inserted into the staff report.
And that recommendation still stands today?
Correct. Yes, it does.
Okay. And then you're also responsible for Section G of the staff report, which is a determination of compliance with land use, site design standards, zoning, and procedural requirements. Is that correct?
Correct.
And the recommendation in the staff report reads, staff has reviewed this application and finds that it complies with the LDRs, that's the land development regulations, as detailed within this report. Staff recommends approval of this development application as consistent with the guidelines and standards of the applicable comprehensive goals, policies, objectives, as implemented in the LDRs, the land development regulations, which implement the comprehensive plan, correct?
Correct.
And is that your recommendation?
Yes.
And does that still stand today?
Yes, it does.
Thank you. I did have a question. Is Lucas Lambert here today?
Yeah, he's over there.
Yeah, Luke, you're not getting off. Can you find him? One quick question for Mr. Lambert.
He was sworn in.
You were sworn in, sir?
Yes.
And can you just briefly tell me what your role in the staff report was?
I'm responsible for reviewing the traffic impact analysis that the developer submits.
Okay. And so in the staff report, that's section K, determination of compliance with the transportation requirements, correct?
Yes.
And in here, I'm reading the findings of compliance is that the Traffic Division of the Public Works Department finds this application in compliance. Is that your statement?
Yes.
And does that recommendation still hold today?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I would at this time like to ask Jordan Haggerty to come up and give you just a short presentation, if he could, on exactly what the school's doing and some of the things that we think are going to be very good for this project out there. So, Mr. Haggerty, if you could come up. And I have a couple of questions for him briefly. Mr. Haggerty, have you been sworn in?
Yes, I have.
Okay, can you state your name and for the record?
Jordan Haggerty.
And can you give us a brief description of your work history and your education background?
Yes, I'm a licensed professional civil engineer who works for Kimley Horn & Associates.
Okay. And can you describe the document that I'm handing you?
A work experience resume.
And is that a current and accurate description of the resume?
Yes.
Real quick, too, by the way, I just noticed in the staff recommendation, this was part of our Exhibit 2 that Ms. Noggle put into the record, but I did notice that during the recommendation, there was an approval of the Exhibit 1. We'd also like, for the record, to reflect Exhibit 2, which was our resumes and work history also be included in the recommendation of approval if we get that far. So at this time, let me let Mr. Haggerty go ahead and do it.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. As stated, my name is Jordan Haggerty with Kimley Horn. I'm a licensed professional civil engineer and here today to provide a brief presentation on the Treasure Coast Classical Academy expansion. And a lot of the items you'll hear are in addition to what Ms. Noggle has already presented. As stated, this is a request for a new 31,700 square foot high school building, an addition of turf athletic recreation field, and then the expansion of the on-site circulation lanes and the extension of the existing Cove Road right turn lanes that I'll explain in a little bit more detail. Here's an aerial view of the existing facility. You can see the existing school building, the existing parking as mentioned, with the outline of the proposed addition and additional improvements. Would like to highlight the green turf field that would be added for recreation and sports uses. The yellow building is the actual facility that would house the high school components. The orange is the additional queuing and on-site vehicle storage that would be allowed for pickup and drop-off. And then,
Otherwise known as the car line.
correct, yes, sir.
That's what most people will know.
Yes, yes, the car line, as well as the highlighted extension of the existing Cove Road right turn lane. So as you can see here, with the proposed expansion of this facility, there is substantial more car line that would be available. which includes an additional entire third lane off of the existing car line facility, which allows for multiple stations for pickup and drop-off operations with the necessary sidewalk and safety facilities to accommodate those operations. So the yellow is a comparison of what would be brand-new additional car line queuing and stacking, which provides additional space for 67 more vehicles. In the existing configuration, there's approximately 153 spaces available for car line. And then this exhibit here, the yellow is highlighting the extension of the existing right turn lane. Where the highlighting ends is the limits of the existing right turn lane, and you can see we're more than doubling, excuse me, the total length of the existing right turn lane, which will also help with traffic operations and queuing on Cove Road to minimize disruptions to commuters and other residents. And this increased length will be approximately 515 feet. As Mr. Raines has stated, this is an excerpt from the Martin County staff report, which shows a compliant and a recommendation of approval. And just reiterating a few conclusion items, this is an existing use that's allowed by right, and we are just requesting an expansion. And then there are no variants or waivers that are being requested as a part of this application. And as a part of this development order, we will provide the expanded infrastructure to accommodate the additional facilities. Thank you.
And Mr. Haggerty, just a couple quick questions. You're familiar with the rules and regulations of the comprehensive plan for Martin County and the land development regulations?
I am.
And in your professional opinion, does this project meet those requirements?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner, I have just one more quick witness.
Mr. Campy would like to ask a
before-
question.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Haggerty, thank you very much. Your last comment, you said that you guys are going to expand the right turning lane 515 feet. For lay people, can you give us an idea about approximately how many cars that would mean? Not 10 feet a car?
Yeah, so roughly 18 feet a car divided by 515 feet would be, approximate number of additional vehicles.
Now, if they are, with the current section being only the gray area on this diagram, all the cars that are trying to turn in currently have to back out into the travel lanes, correct? So this would be alleviating cars that are, once you fill this right lane before the cars can pull into the property, everybody else is stacked behind that, which would be the lane.
And Commissioner, if I could, I actually have our traffic consultant here.
Beautiful.
He might be the right person. I was just going to bring him up next, and he might be the right
Apologize.
person to answer
I wasn't
those.
sure who was coming next.
Mr. Haggerty's more in charge of the engineering
play
stuff.
multiple duties, yes,
Right.
go
He was the one who mentioned it.
Yeah, no, well, yeah, in the presentation. No, I just want to help you get the correct answers for you. I'd like at this time to have Mr. Kerr come up. Mr. Kerr, have you been sworn in?
I have.
Can you please state your name for the record, sir?
Adam Kerr.
And can you please state your qualifications and education?
I'm a registered professional engineer in the state of Florida. I've been practicing traffic engineering for over 22 years, and I have a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering from Clemson University.
And do you?
Tigers.
Yeah, do you, sir, recognize that
I do.
document?
I
And
do.
can you describe that very quickly for me?
That is my most recent CV resume.
Okay, thank you. And I would like for the record to reflect this was part of our exhibits in Exhibit 2 for the record. Mr. Kerr, real quick question, and I'll let you answer Commissioner Campy's questions. In your role was to review the staff or the traffic for this project?
Yes,
And, sir, and you're familiar with the rules and regulations for Martin County?
I am.
And in your professional opinion, does this meet those rules and regulations and comply?
It does.
Okay, and you might want to, Commissioner, I'll turn him over to you.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Kerr.
Thank
Same question. The current right turning lane in, deceleration lane or whatever, how many cars does it currently can fit in there approximately?
So the current turn lane is just over 300 feet long, so at about roughly 20 feet conservatively per vehicle. You're looking at around 15 or so vehicles in there.
And now with the new?
With the extension, that would be an additional 20 to 25 vehicles that could queue in that turn lane without blocking the through traffic on Cove Road.
Thank you.
Commissioners, that concludes our presentation. I think, again, as I mentioned at the beginning, our goal is to show through competent, substantial evidence that we meet all the rules and the regulations. I think we've done that, not only through your staff, but with the witnesses that we have here today. Therefore, we would respectfully request that you approve the item before you today, and we'll be glad to answer any questions you might have.
Commissioner Hurd.
Yeah, how many students fit in the 32,000 square foot new building? Highest number.
Anticipated to be 400 additional
Thank you.
students.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. Commissioner Campy.
Is there public comment?
Oh, yeah, we do have public comment. T. Mark Green,
I'm after.
followed by Carrie Botswell.
Thank you so much, Commissioners, and thank you so much for the work that you do to selfishly serve our community every day. I am Mark Green on behalf of the Treasure Coast Classical Academy. Every day at TCCA, we begin our day at 8 o'clock with a moment of virtue. That virtue by our students centers their day. We then go into a moment of silence as directed by our governor, and then the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, and then recite our mission together as a school. Two of our main goals found in our mission is to train the minds and improve the hearts of young people. At TCCA, we believe that learning to become healthy citizens is a large component of education. A healthy citizen contributes to their community through development of healthy relationships within their families and demonstrated integrity within their employment. This healthy citizen respects all people, regardless of race, regardless of economic status, religion, or orientation. At TCCA, our goal is to raise good humans who understand that life is bigger than themselves and who seek to serve as a matter of life philosophy. Within the mission, we cultivate the following virtues of our students that include courage, courtesy, honesty, perseverance, self-government, which is basically self-control of your actions and deeds, service and responsibility to all that you do as a citizen. Commissioners, you could greatly assist us in our mission by approving this site plan to expand our facilities. By doing so, you will expand the opportunity for these students to become a positive impact in their community and to create the best life possible for them and their families through an education that not only addresses their minds, but also addresses their hearts. Please join us in that effort. And again, we thank you for your service and all that you do, and God bless you and your families. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Carrie Botwell, followed by Nicole Ferguson.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name's Carrie Boutwell. Our son Ace has attended TCCA since August of 2020. He is currently 11 years old and about to enter 6th grade at the Academy. We chose TCCA as the educational facility for our son because of its focus on language, the arts, and a classical curriculum, but also because of the emphasis the school places on character growth, responsibility, and moral virtues. But what we found after we enrolled Ace far exceeded our expectations. His love of learning and learning retention skyrocketed. His relationships with teachers and administrators were so positive. They know him by name, and he's excited to see them, and sad even to say goodbye on the last day of school. The accessibility we have as parents to the faculty and the level of professionalism they demonstrated has blown us away. We had 2 foster girls enrolled there while they were in our care, and a team of staff including speech therapists, counselors, teachers, principals, and deans met with us to support the girls in their struggles and come up with a comprehensive plan to help them succeed on the spot. It was beyond helpful and so unexpected. We know that our son is safe at TCCA with a zero tolerance policy for bullying and aggression. Here, he is not a number shuffled from school to school as he ages. With the approval of the expansion, he will graduate knowing the same smiling faces who supported him with his entire education and brought out the best in our son. Thank you.
All right, and Nicole Ferguson is the last speaker form I have. If anybody else would like to speak, please fill out a form.
Good morning. Sorry, just a little nervous. Nicole Ferguson. I moved here in early 2017. We are an active duty family. Chose Treasure Coast Classical Academy because I wanted something different for my last baby. And we are so excited and happy. Everything that you just heard from Mr. Green, what you have heard from the other parent, is the reason why we chose this school. This expansion is something that we are excited about. We need, we want. I don't know where I would be without this school. It's very passionate to us. It's absolutely amazing. To watch my daughter's growth. She's in summer school, and last week with the tornadoes, one of the things that as the schools, during the school shootings and different things like that, I would draw a little heart on her wrist with a Sharpie, and always told her, like, if you ever got scared, you see that heart on your wrist. She got in the car last Thursday after the tornadoes. I said, how was your day? She said, Mommy, I was scared. Look, I put a little heart on my wrist. And I said, but you were safe. And she says, I'm always safe here. That is the school that we have at TCCA. She knows that she is safe. That is the environment that they have created. And as a mom, I am so grateful for. My husband's getting ready to deploy, and I know I have my village behind me, and that's TCCA. That is the culture that we have created, they have created for our scholars. So I pray that you guys approve this for us, for our amazing county. And one of the things that I am scared of is that knowing that my husband's going to be coming up on orders, and I'm staying in Martin County because I love this county. I've been here since 2017, and I'm not going anywhere. And that's because of you guys. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And with that, Commissioner Campy.
Thank you very much. Excuse me. When this agenda item came up, I was actually happy and thankful because it shows a natural progression of the exciting and terrific work you've been doing. I remember when TCCA was first being discussed as a possibility, had been to some of the school board meetings where passionate parents and I guess administrators were talking about this concept of bringing TCCA to Martin County. And back then, they were only offering promises, but you've delivered on the promises. And I know that, even though my children are long out of school age, actually out of college age, but they were in school when you were getting started. And so many families that I'm friends with in Palm City and elsewhere in the county rave about the TCCA. I remember first being invited to tour it when you were in the temporary location on 34th Street. I work on 34th Street, so I was very aware of what that was like every day. And then when we toured it, it was really a whole series of portables that were designed in such a way with an outside walkway that it seemed like it could be permanent. That's how well done it was. And they opened the doors and allowed us to come in and see some of the classes. And the kids all immediately stood up and they acknowledged us, and then they went through the mission, and then we just sat and observed for a while. And I was thinking, how remarkable. Then you had the opportunity to move on to Cove Road, and I also had the honor of being there for the first day, and the ribbon cutting, and the excitement, and the kids were so proud of their brand new school, and so were the grown-ups, and the parents, and the administrators, and I'm thinking, wow, this is perfect. So now to get to participate in your expansion to the high school plan is just magical. At my church, there's a young gentleman who's an altar server, and I've served with him a couple of times, and he's standing in the back of the room before church starts. And I said, his name is Matthew, and he's in 6th grade. And I said, hey, where do you go to school? And he goes, TCCA. And now as a 6th grader, I knew that, he's getting into the middle school ages. I said to him, well, on Tuesday, I don't think he had any idea what I was talking about, but on Tuesday, I will be voting, and hopefully enough of my colleagues will be voting so that you can go to high school at the TCCA. And his face just lit up. Because prior to that, everyone, as they get to that age, to that grade, they had to go somewhere else. So for the ability to transition and stay there and finish out their education without being disrupted. Imagine living in your own home, but basically having to move schools, which is always a disruption for young people. And if not necessary, then why do it? So with that, it is my honor to say thank you. Thank you for giving, look, my kids were products of the Martin County School District and did very well. And I have nothing but praise for our public school teachers and the public school system. Now, I know this system, not ours, but public schools in general get pretty beat up on and always blamed if the kids don't turn out perfect. But we are very fortunate here to have a remarkable public school system. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't have options. And I think, whether it's the Pine School or religious education, but adding TCCA to that mix, to that opportunities for parents to have, makes Martin County as special as it is. So it's my honor to definitely make the motion to accept, to approve your expansion. Thank you.
Commissioner Heatherington.
I would simply echo just about every single one of your comments, Commissioner Campy, and say that I'm glad that, that this school has been a success. My last baby just graduated Martin County High School, and had you been around a little bit sooner, the older one probably would have attended TCCA. So I'm happy for your success. I think the additional car line and stacking is going to be immensely helpful in the area, and then we'll move on to our responsibility of Cove Road. And I will say, Lord knows we need indoor recreation facilities for our students, so I'm happy to have you have that for our students. Hopefully in the future, there might be an opportunity for you to even partner with some of the rec leagues like TC Rec Ball. And I think what you're doing and what you've done is exciting, and I wish you the best, and I will gladly second your motion.
Commissioner Smith.
It's great when you get to go third because everything's already been said.
You're the one with the school-aged child.
Huh?
And you're the one with the future school-aged child.
I know, that seems hard to believe, doesn't it?
It does.
No, to the commissioner's comments and to the parents specifically, thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing your story with us, especially our veterans family.
Active duty.
It's super important to have the acknowledgement of what's going on and what has happened, the success of what's going on, the choice that you have all made to go to TCCA. As Commissioner Campy and Heatherington said, options are a good thing. There's not one size that fits all. Ed and I have had the privilege, and Sarah's been here to have seen this since its inception. I too got to be at the ribbon cutting that day, and the enthusiasm, the excitement was fantastic. A name that we should never let go too far from the involvement is Steve Barney and his involvement in the program in the very beginning. A lot of things happen in this county that some people don't tie all the dots together, but the Barney family certainly has played a major role in this community and continues with what's happening out west. And they're choosing to sell their property to a project that is going to do something really, really good and exciting with that property. When the Barney family could have gone in a completely opposite direction of where it was going, they took the chance to do something different. And then they took this chance and got involved with you all. And it's been super, super exciting to watch what's happening, and this is yet the next phase of it all. So congratulations to all of you for what you're doing. I do have a 3.5 plus that we're not sure exactly where she's going just yet. She will tell us. She already seems to be pretty much in charge, and I tell everybody that she pretty much talks already like a 10-year-old. So when she tells us what she's going to do, I guess that's what we will end up doing. But I'm more than happy to support the motion that has been made and I wish you all the very best of luck. And hopefully, sooner than later, we will get to the improvements on Cove Road that I wished had been done sooner, because that'll make a big difference down there. But nonetheless, it's in the queue, and it'll make it much better for the future. Thank you all.
Commissioner Hurd.
Yeah, well, clearly, by all accounts, Treasure Coast Classical Academy provides a wonderful education. The education and character development that the Treasure Coast Classical Academy provides is fantastic, but education doesn't fall under county commissioners' responsibilities. Our responsibilities instead focus on infrastructure provision, adequate infrastructure provision, safe infrastructure provision, following the rules. And Cove Road is currently operating at level of service F. That means it's failed. And Cove Road is not going to be widened for another 8 or 10 years. And clearly, right now, a big part of the failure of Cove Road is because of the car lines at the TCCA. The residents are at a meltdown point when in the morning and in the afternoon, when the school begins and when it lets out. My residents are, well, as I say, they're ready to melt down because the traffic is so congested every single morning. So this looks to compound that problem that already exists with no solutions, providing 67 interior spaces and 20 more stacking spaces on Cove Road isn't going to solve the problem, not when you're going to add up to 400 new students with no additional buses. So every one of those children has to be taken to school by someone. When I met with the applicant earlier, I said, why didn't you consult with Chick-fil-A and figure out how to put more capacity on your parcel? And there just isn't enough. This spot is inadequate for your goals. So I'm not going to be supporting this. I certainly support the Treasure Coast Classical Academy, support your expansion, but man, this is not the right spot in order to create that additional capacity. It's already over capacity, and this is just going to exacerbate the problem with no solution in sight.
Commissioner? Sure. I actually was just coming up because I just wanted to make sure of a point of order that our Exhibit 2 with our agenda packet was received into evidence. I just wanted to make sure with Elise and that was taken care of so that when we get approved. So that was the only reason I was going to come up. The only other comment I would make, since Commissioner Hurd made some comments, is that, the traffic issues on Cove Road are not the applicant's fault. And that doesn't prohibit them from moving forward with their property rights. And, my recollection was that, unfortunately, this road should have been 4-lane previously. I don't recall the exact circumstances. Maybe somebody can refresh my memory as to why it wasn't 4-lane previously already. But anyway, that's, again, we do meet the rules and regulations. And we are entitled to be approved. And that's how I'll leave it. Thank you.
Elise Elter, Deputy County Attorney. To accommodate Mr. Rain's request, we would need to amend the motion in order to add Exhibit 2 because I do not believe that was in staff's recommendation. So
Motioner agrees.
Seconder agrees.
Commissioner Campy.
I understand what my colleague is saying about Cove Road. We've heard people come here and say the same thing about that. Mr. Raines is not wrong. During my absence from the board, a decision that was already in the works to move Cove Road towards improvements and much more efficient was derailed. I wasn't here to witness it firsthand, but that's what we heard. But that being said, one of the speakers said the same thing that I was thinking this morning, is that anybody that lives near any of our schools, especially the elementary schools, Palm City Elementary School originally, as I mentioned earlier, about 34th Street, my kids car lined on 34th Street, the traffic the car line went from the gate at the western end of 34th Street all the way to Map Road. And everyone that lived on 34th Street or off of 34th Street, off a little dead end, had to deal with the car line for decades. Then when they redid the school, they moved the entrance, the drop-off and the pickup to Palm City School Avenue, which is off of Martin Highway. And before they were done with the final field construction and creating the additional car line loop, the cars would stack on Martin Highway of all places, all the way back. Matheson, Bessie Creek, that's why I was asking about the turn-in lanes. School board member Dee Terlizzi and I stood out there with the administration and the parents at the beginning drop-off in the morning and at the end pickup in the afternoon and realized there's a problem. The cars were stacking and blocking Matheson all over the place. And the district and our staff, we worked to extend. Jim Gordon's standing right there. He was standing out there with us that day. And we extended the turning lanes and the center turning lanes as much as we could. Crystal Lake in front of 96th Street, car line. Willoughby, car line, blocks the road. But here's the thing. It blocks the road for about a half an hour in the morning, 180 days a year. That's it. And then it doesn't block the car lane for the afternoon rush hour because kids get out of school at 2 or 3 o'clock, not 5 or 5:30. So from my point of view, I don't disagree with what my colleague is saying. And it is something that Cove Road is, as Commissioner Smith said, we are addressing. That's our responsibility, not yours. That's our job to make sure that the roads are working as efficiently as possible and they get grades. So I don't know if I would blame the TCCA. And a couple other points just for the record. This is going to be a high school expansion. Many of those kids won't be getting dropped off by mom or dad. They will be driving their cars. If they're like any other high school kid, they'll be driving onto the campus and parking and staying there. And the expansion of the school also expands dramatically the car line loop and the stacking and the road. So some of some of Cove Road's issues will be addressed by the improvements that you're making on your dollar that will also benefit Cove. And so I hear my colleagues' concerns. I believe that they're valid, but in no way would dissuade me from continuing for what you're trying to do there, because every year that you're not there is a group of students that have to pass through without getting the opportunity to be in your educational care. So, and I think for me, that definitely tips the scale to a yes.
Commissioner Smith.
Yeah, just a couple other points, because I was here when that happened with Cove. My understanding or memory was that 2017 it was to have been under construction, which would have had it done well in advance of this. And somewhere between 2017 and today, the legislature also changed the game relative to concurrency, which used to require us to build capacity prior to something being built. All those rules have changed at the state level, which we have no control over. And so, something that's important to remember, and I think it's worth talking about, is that, sometimes decisions that get made, whether it's the MPO, whether it's the county commission, people go, oh, okay, there's a list with a bunch of yesterday we had our MPO meeting, and there's a list of priorities on that list. They all mean something. There really is a purpose for doing these things. And these projects, like 4-laning of Cove Road, take 7 to 10 years to happen. And when you pull them off that priority list as if it never existed, the state backs away from it. They stop planning. They stop working on it. We had an instance with Commissioner Hetherington yesterday on a project she's been working on for, 4 or 5 years to try to get a neighborhood's capacity problem, safety problem dealt with. And that neighborhood chose to change direction. Fair enough, that was their choice. But if that decision comes back again, removing it from the priority was with where it was sitting, and the fact that FDOT has now stopped working on it sets it back probably 5 or 6 years from ever happening. And so for residents, for all you folks that are here today and those that are watching, it's just always important to remember that what may seem kind of like benign decisions that get made actually have real impacts in the long run. I believe with what you all have done with your site plan, I think that third lane, I think the stacking capacity, the additional capacity going around the southwest corner will in fact add a tremendous amount of capacity to your school day. The stacking lane or the right-hand turn lane out on Cove, I think will help a lot. And clearly down the road when we get to the four-laning of Cove, that'll change the dynamics significantly. And if Amelia does end up going there, I guess I'll have to figure out if that stacking really worked or not. So we'll see in the future. Not too far down the road, actually.
Well, to Commissioner Hurd's point, you could get the folks from Chick-fil-A to be crossing guards.
I don't think that's going to solve
Okay,
the problem.
with that, do we have any other comments or whatever? So we have a motion by Commissioner Campy, seconded by Commissioner Heatherington. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Opposed?
Motion carries 4-1. Commissioner Hurd dissenting. At this point, we're going to take our 10:30 closed captioning break, and when we come back, we're going to take up the 2 consent polls.
You want anything from me?
You're on.
Okay, welcome back to our commission meeting. And we are going to take up consent poll number 7, Business Development Board of Martin County Annual Report.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. George Stoke, Assistant County Administrator. Before you today was a consent item from the Business Development Board of Martin County, as required by their contract to provide an annual report to the Martin County Board of Commissioners. I think you'll find that it is attached to the item. It is a little bit different than previous. The BDB did not, they are in an interim director position, as well as they've seen some staffing changes in their organization, and we felt it would be better to come back at a later date to provide some presentation and an update. But as you know, Mr. Chair, you are also the liaison for that committee, but I am here and more than happy to answer any questions or address any comments or concerns relating to the Business Development Board.
Commissioner Hurd.
How long have we been providing support to the Business Development Board?
I believe the Business Development Board was created at the change of the comp plan or the addition of the economic element to the comp plan. I do not aware of the exact date in which you guys started that. I've been employed with Martin County since 2010, and I know it's existed but previous to that, so I don't know the exact date in which it started.
Well, we contribute $450,000 a year, and if it's been 20 years, that means we've contributed $8 million at least. And I want to know what we've gotten for our $8 million. And as I ask every year, it was always supposed to be that the Business Development Board was going to be working on recruiting funding from the private sector. And yet, that has been anemic the entire time. It's anemic this time, this year also. The county's providing $450,000, and local investor income is $58,000. It doesn't seem like the private sector is interested in this. It doesn't seem like they're contributing to Business Development Board, and it also looks like the lion's share of the investment that Martin County is making, $350,000 a year, is going into salaries and benefits. So I once again question the wisdom of continuing to fund the Business Development Board when it apparently has absolutely no interest in becoming self-funding. And also, this isn't a report, it's just a budget. There's no information that's provided about what successes, what's been done.
Commissioner Smith.
So I think with any conversation like this, there's always an opportunity to do something or share some thoughts and ideas. Otherwise, with the 5 of us, we don't ever get to talk to each other. So the years I've been doing this, there have been multiple transitions between the BDB. We've gone from years of being focused on the contributory industry side of life here in Martin County, to where we really thought from a employment to a tax base to anything that job creation would create would be of a benefit to our community, both from our residents having a place to work with good, valuable employment opportunities, but also on the contributory side, that the idea behind the contributory piece of it was that the money that was being generated through a business would be coming in from the outside and not going to the outside. It wouldn't be leaving what was generated here, that it would stay here and contribute to our community and to the prosperity of our community. And I think there were a lot of years where, when Ted Astolfi's involvement years ago, were involved with that. Ted did a great job back then keeping it together, keeping the idea together of what that really looked like. His involvement at the state level was super back then, and we made some headway. And then we went through some transitions, and we had some great staff, and we've had some not-so-good staff. And then there was a redirection from the county commission some years back, that they wanted to not focus on contributory industry. They wanted to focus on local business, which really was a significant divergence from the historical side of where it had come from. But to some extent, I think the BDB tried to move in that direction. And then there was another change again, and it kind of came back to we should be focusing on recruitment and retention, not just contributory. But we also had a list of the priority industries that we were to focus on and we're going to focus on as a community that we were already good at, and why recreate the wheel. I think, George, what I would like to at least share with the BDB from the board's perspective, from my seat's perspective, is that I think there's the opportunity for yet another sort of, I wouldn't say correction, I would say addition to the requirements of what a new executive director would look like. And part of that would be that we have 6 CRAs that I've felt for a very long time that it would be very helpful to have an expert in the recruitment, in the business development world that could focus on retail. Outside of other priorities as well, but the ability to have like a Bob Gibbs, and I use Bob Gibbs because he is a renowned expert nationally, and we use him at the Regional Planning Council to advise us and communities that we work with at the Regional Planning Council on looking at our traditional downtowns, looking at redevelopment areas, and trying to understand the capacity of the community to add something to the mix, but also the type of mix and the type of capacity that you would add. And I think all of our neighborhoods, Ed's is starting to, bloom out in Palm City with his patio project and other things with the Map Road redo. There's some new construction out there, which is exactly what a lot of this was all about, to get to us to a point to where some things that needed some infill would actually start to happen. But I think there's another level of expertise that's needed out there. And whether it was on our staff here at the county or whether it was at the BDB, I would just hope that the BDB board looks to, when they're looking at resumes, when they're culling through people that might be the next generation of what the BDB looks like, is that we really do add a major component of their focus to the redevelopment areas, to focus on them as well, that we don't just let it be happenstake. I can tell you that in downtown Jensen, we go through cycles a lot. And I can't help but think that sometimes had we had better guidance, better advice as to recruiting, whether it's restaurants, retails, whatever it may be, the longevity and the success of those businesses wouldn't be better if we had recruited better, or recruited at all, forget even better. So anyway, that's it. Sure. Thank you.
Commissioner Camping.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I know that this was originally on the consent agenda, and Commissioner Hurd pulled it, and she's asking some legitimate questions that it's not, I don't believe, Mr. Stokes' responsibility on our behalf or the board's, excuse me, on the board's behalf to answer beyond the scope of how he is our liaison or you are our representative on the board. I think we need to table this or have it come back with representatives. I don't know if they were told that it was being pulled, but it's hard to have this conversation without representatives from the Business Development Board here. I know that they're going through a transition and that Dan Hudson has been working as their interim. Commissioner Smith is not wrong that when you have an interim or a change in leadership, it's a good opportunity for us to re-examine our relationship as well as to reaffirm what the expectation from the board is that comes along with the funding that comes with that. Like I know certain things anecdotally that I have been involved in with the Business Development Board, local businesses in Palm City and elsewhere that have been very complimentary to the assistance and the services that they've received from the BDB. But I can't be here, especially since I don't represent the board, I can't be here explaining those folks. The BDB needs to put a group of business success stories together and bring them here and let the folks from the Business Development Board, even if it's Dan Hudson as the interim, to respond to Commissioner Hurd's questions. So I think I would make a motion that we postpone this or reschedule it to a time when the folks from the Business Development Board can come and make a presentation, not for us to be up here, potentially just filling in our own experiences with, pro or con with the Business Development Board. That would be my suggestion. I'm sorry, Old Lane.
Commissioner Hurd.
Yeah, my criticism is in no way directed at Mr. Stokas or Commissioner Jenkins.
Oh, I didn't take it that way. I didn't take it that way at all.
Commissioner Smith.
Yeah, George, if we're going to come back with this, which is fine, I think it would be helpful if Dan and yourself met with individually with us prior to, just to get sort of an understanding for, I know Dan very well, and Dan is incredibly capable of doing whatever he's asked to do in his administrative level. It just would be helpful, I think, for all of us, certainly for me, to get a sense for where Dan is and where you are, and so that Dan can hear from us one-on-one what we think and what we might be able to craft into an agenda item that would be helpful versus just an open conversation.
I think that's the only way to do it, because to be honest with you, I mean, I have the privilege of sitting through those board meetings. I hear the pulse reports. I hear, the everything that the BDB is involved with and what they're working on, and oftentimes I go, it's very hard to measure. It's what we're asking them to do is not a tangible. You're not going out and picking 5 oranges, right? It is something that if you're not intimately involved with the operations of what's going on, it's pretty impossible, I would assume, to really kind of get a grasp on what the Business Development Board does. I got to tell you, Dan is an amazing superstar. It's too bad that we can't keep him permanently, because he is, I've witnessed 2 other cycles with the Business Development Board, and what the footing he's putting it on right now is sustainable, and I just can't. He's just doing a great job. I'll just leave it at that. Thank you. All right. So
You're very lucky.
I made a motion to reschedule this agenda item with the suggestions.
Second his motion.
Okay, we have any other comments? We have a motion by Commissioner Campy, seconded by Commissioner Heatherington. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, Mr.
Second poll would be request for contract renewal between Martin County and the Solar and Energy Loan Fund. Commissioner Hurt.
I pulled this, and I pulled it because we should be celebrating this. This is a wonderful program, and we need to make residents aware of it so that they can avail themselves to the services that we are providing with this program.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Kimberly Levy. I'm your Administrative Services Manager. I'm just going to go through briefly what the program is about. In 2010, the state of Florida authorized the Property Assessed Clean Energy Program, which allows through the tax collector's office for you as a homeowner to add things such as energy efficient, renewable energy, solar panels, ACs, and things of that nature to your property tax. In 2018, the Board of County Commissioners also approved this program, the PACE program, in the Martin County ordinances. We, as an organization, though, the PACE program contractors must have a contract with or an agreement with Martin County. Those contractors are listed on our website. The difference between the PACE program and the SELF program, which is what you're approving today, is that with the PACE program, you must have equity in your home to be able to have a loan agreement. What SELF does is one step further in administration in 2019, at the direction of Mr. Donaldson, our now county administrator. What SELF does is it also gives low cost financing options to our citizens, but those citizens don't have to have that equity in their home. It gives a loan up to 8% for things such as our septic to sewer program, and also their ACs, whether they need a roof repair, those types of things. The program has been very successful in Martin County in the last 5 years. SELF has financed 298 homes, improvement programs, over $2 million.
Septic to sewer is 175 septic sewer projects, and in that is over $1 million.
Terrific.
This program, we're asking right now that you will approve the contract for up to 7 years. It's 5 years with 2 one-year renewals, and we'll continue this great program for our citizens.
Great, thank you. Motion?
Move approval.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hurd, seconded by Commissioner Campy. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next up, Donna, Animal Care and Control Oversight Board appointment.
Gordon for administration.
Can't hear you for some reason.
Didn't put the sheet up, but Dr. Roderick M. Wood received 5 votes for the Animal Care and Control Oversight Board.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Smith, seconded by Commissioner Heatherington. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Public hearing number 1, proposed transfer of county-owned properties for affordable housing purposes and adoption of a resolution revising the January 2024 affordable housing list. Ms. Carla Segura and Mr. George Stokish.
Here they are.
Good morning again, Mr. Chair. George Stokas, Assistant County Administrator. Join with me is Ms. Carla Segura, Real Property Manager. Together, we're going to go through a PowerPoint, very similar to what we presented to the public, regarding the transfer of county-owned property for affordable housing. This body saw this item previously at, I believe, earlier in this year in around February. If you'll hold on for 1 second, where is it? Is this it?
The only meeting I've ever missed.
Which?
Wonderful. Thank you, Donna. So for Martin County, between Martin County and other government entities and not-for-profits, that you have over 5,800, you have 5,880 parcels that have to be reviewed per Florida state statutes as well as what's put into the Live Local Act bill. From that 5,880, you actually individually own 1,097 parcels. The majority of them being Palomar at 599, and these numbers may have changed as the county continues to buy property or sell property. From that 1,097, you have 9 remaining parcels that are that are available for potentially residential structures as well as for affordable housing. However, 3 of them are airport noise mitigation properties, so they no longer count. 2 are for park expansion. 1 is a utilities well abandonment is needed, and then 3 are owned by utilities and have to be sold at fair market value. Leading the final, out of 5,088 parcels, leaves you actually, and I apologize, there's a mistake with this slide. You had 4 parcels, however, the first one is 47th Street, the next one is Fairmont, and then the third one is Railway at Geraldine, and then there's a 4th one called Hawthorne in Golden Gate that we had added as staff because it became aware to us. 47th Avenue, Carla, what neighborhood would you say that's in?
New Monrovia, I think.
New Monrovia. 47th Avenue, it's a single-family home parcel that the county owns. Fairmont, and I apologize, Fairmont, we're taking off the list because it is now a part of the Camino Trail project. However, there are still parcels on Hawthorne, which is in Golden Gate. And then Railway in Geraldine, this was a parcel that was previously put out for RFQ and RFP for affordable housing. However, it actually was the parcel that precipitated this conversation because the contractor in question couldn't bring the home price below, I believe, $350,000 or $400,000. So that's kind of the breakdown of the parcels. I'll go back to the board here in a moment, but I did want to show you this slide. We did hold a public meeting with all the not-for-profit partners. We did actively reach out and communicate to them, both email, social media, as well as we did have an advertised public meeting. It was very well attended. I don't remember if when any of you were there, perhaps Commissioner Campy, I don't remember.
You did a nice job.
Thank you very much. And then I would say there was probably about 50 to 60 people here in this chambers.
Chamber was
Pretty full. So it was very well attended. We did get some very good feedback. The public is very interested in any parcel that we put forward, that it kind of fit the dynamics of the community. If it's in an NAC, the public wanted it to go back to the CRA, they wanted to go back to the NAC so that the NAC could comment, as well as the public was very concerned that if we were going to hand properties over, that there wouldn't be land banking, that there would be some performance requirements in a a lease transfer agreement. So with that, I would like, Donna, if you could help me and go back to the board item, I'd like to walk you through. Thank you, Donna. Oop. So the first parcel is 5703 Southeast 47th Avenue, Stewart, Port Salerno, New Monrovia. It is a .218 parcel. It is the one that staff is suggesting goes through the first RFP process for affordable housing. We're requesting RFP process because we have multiple interested not-for-profit housing partners that are interested in possibly building a single-family home on this lot. The next one is, we were going to delete, this was the 10 county-owned platted lots across from Lamar Howard Park. This is because they have now been incorporated into Camino Trails design, and those numbers, by the way, have come in, and it looks like they're going to be good, but I don't want to spoil the surprise there. The third one is Geraldine Street and 5358 Southeast Railway Avenue. I showed you those earlier. And then the fourth one, which was not in the slide presentation, is Hawthorne Street, which is, I would say, about a block south of the other one that we showed you in Golden Gate. It's pretty much parallel to the Camino Trail. This was originally thought of by the NAC and the CRA for multifamily housing. However, we're going to be asking that the BCC authorize the lot split for lots 5 and 6, the creation of a drainage easement along the southern 7.5 feet of lot 5 and northern 7.5 feet of lot 6, presentation to the NAC, and then possible multifamily use, and get their opinion, come back to you. Needless to say, to keep it brief and try and keep it consolidated, I do need to make some corrections to the recommended action, so I'd like to walk through with you. But we would like to ask the board to authorize staff to present parcel 4 to the Golden Gate Neighborhood Advisory Committee and CRA Agency Board for their direction and concurrence as to the type of housing. We would also like to ask the board to authorize staff to craft an RFP for parcels 1 and 4, being the process to transfer or donate to a not-for-profit housing organization, community land trust, or developer with reverter clause. The third is to authorize staff to start a lot split with drainage easements, as we've explained before, and sidewalk easements between lots 5 and 6, 1 and 4, and to initiate a zoning change process. And number 4 is to move that we ask the board to adopt a revised resolution authorizing staff to place parcels 1 and 4 as listed, able, and designate properties for affordable housing to be recorded and placed on the county website. And that would be in concurrence with the Live Local Act, by the way. And then number 5, we're asking the board to authorize the chairman to execute any and all documents necessary to complete transaction. With that all being said, 47th Avenue is probably the first one that'll be out the gate. The rest of them require some rezoning and some work to be done before we can move forward with the process. It will be a long process. It's not something that's going to happen over 30 days, and we will be back before this body with the RFP and then the actual proposals we receive from the RFP, if I'm not mistaken. And I also want to just take this time to thank Public Works as well as legal. Even though I get the pleasure of presenting you this very interesting item, there are probably 50 people behind me that are putting this all together. So, and I now have memorized Ms. Segura's extension just from this board item alone. So, and she's tired of talking to me every morning. So with that, we're more than happy to answer any questions. I know it's a bit confusing, or address any comments or concerns.
Commissioner Hurt.
Yeah, the Hawthorne Street project is, you're suggesting that there's a unity of title created on 10 platted lots? It's 0.6
Yes.
acres, so that means that the lots are not buildable lots, right? And is there any indication of what the adjacent uses are?
So the adjacent uses are residential, and then it would be institutional because you're going to have the trail, the Parks Trail that I believe goes in front of it, if not currently under the Camino project, but at some future phase. I could look on the map. I'm not. Do you know the exact
Is it multifamily? Is it single family? Is it?
If at least amount of impact, it's single family. If adjacent would be at worst, probably the duplexes or the quads that we typically see in the Golden Gate neighborhood. What I can tell you is that the NAC and the CRA, when we had discussions about putting this out for RFP, the two biggest issues were, number one, there was no water or sewer to the lot. That has now been changed. You now have sewer there. And then secondly, the NAC at that time wanted to have multifamily, but as staff recognizing it's been a number of years since we've gone back and kind of asked that question, maybe the public opinion has changed, or maybe the need has changed. So we would like to go back to the NAC and get what did they suggest for their neighborhood, if the board would like us to do so.
Okay.
And we're more than happy, Commissioner, to come back with those results. I mean, that was kind of the plan.
Commissioner Smith.
Is the public hearing on? Do we have to take?
Oh, do we have any public that would like to talk on this item? Seeing none, Commissioner Smith.
Move approval of staff's recommendation and the bringing back of the various options after they've gone to the NAC, CRA, and so on.
Second.
Okay. I kind of wanted to talk about our land trust a little bit, but I
Go ahead.
don't know that and Mike Redling's here from Habitat, and he actually is sitting on our inaugural board, but this is exactly what the land trust was formed for. We are not necessarily have evolved to be in a position, we should be within the next few months, of actually receiving properties, but I wanted to take this opportunity because there's been some confusion, and Mike and I have had this conversation a couple of times, but I just had a recent that somehow the land trust is in competition with Habitat. That could not be further from the truth. The whole concept of the land trust is to actually complement Habitat's efforts, and Habitat complement ours. There's appropriate properties that Habitat's model and what they're good at is obviously, and I can't tell out of everything you just said what is appropriate for them and what's appropriate for somebody else, but that is something that we designed the land trust to actually work hand in hand with Habitat and any other not-for-profit that is focused on affordable housing. And this is something that's passionate for me, that I intend on being full up to my neck in after I depart this dais. I am.
Remember who you are?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that's true. This is something that people can actually build wealth. And that's really, these days, the only way a young family can build wealth is through real estate. And this gives them that opportunity. So I just kind of wanted to.
If not wealth, at least equity. At least have the,
Okay.
they can call their own. Wealth sounds like $2,000.
Wealth, equity. Okay, I get it. Yeah, it's all the same.
Some people
But thanks for clarifying that.
I'm here for you.
But anyway, so I just kind of wanted to do that, and we are working, the county, I hope, still is working on the 3-ish acres that are in Banner Lake with the mutton, or whatever you call it, little thing for, and that is something that we're envisioning as being a potential 14-unit multifamily affordable housing, simple free title project in the future. And anyway.
So, Mr. Chair, thank you, and I apologize, we kind of did this item as more specific to but we will be coming back to you as staff at a later date with another affordable housing update. We, as the session closed up in Tallahassee, we have some changes and stuff that we'll be discussing with you both individually and as a group. And then I will say, this project has really pushed us as staff. We've gotten really into the community. We're creating, we'll say, collaborating with a lot of not-for-profits. It's a big problem. There's plenty of opportunity for a lot more players to come and help try and solve this issue.
Cool. Commissioner Smith.
Yeah, Commissioner Jenkins, maybe you can help, because I think I understand, but I've not clearly been intimately involved like you have. In the land trust world of affordable housing, does the land trust always keep the land in the trust?
Yes.
And I think that's an important note because the concern on a lot of these projects is that somewhere out in the future, 20 years, 25 years from some point, that somehow a project reverts out of the affordable capacity into something else. And I think the brilliance behind what you've done and what you're going to do and what the land trust can do is it keeps that property, that piece in the affordable category well into the future. And so I think when people hear about this or think about this, that always is, for me, the most important part. I remember years ago, and George and I talked about this years ago up in, I think it was either Winter Garden or Winter Park.
Winter Park.
There was a really amazing project that they put a land trust together up there for, and went into some older neighborhoods and really put together some amazing architecture, amazing homes. That the goal of all that was not only to have it stay in that way well into the future, but was to blend in the architecture of the neighborhood with the old neighborhood they were going into, and it was a fantastic thing. So look forward to your success, and I just think that's, for me, that's the most important piece of all of this from that perspective, from the land trust, is that it protects that land into the future.
There's a whole contractual, we went through, paid a lot of legal fees to get those documents exactly right for what we are trying to accomplish. So it's very well spelled out of exactly what everybody's agreeing to and understanding. But anyway, with that, we had a motion by Doug and seconded by Commissioner Heatherington. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Public hearing number 2, public hearing to consider adoption of an ordinance amending section 71.73.a General Ordinances, Martin County Code to amend the legal description of the boundaries of Districts 1, 2, and 3 municipal servicing taxing units. Samantha, Lovelady.
Good morning, Commissioners, Mr. Chair. Samantha Lovelady for the record. I'm with Growth Management. And this is a revision to the MSTU districts 1, 2, 3, and 4. As you know, after each decennial census, we do commission district redistricting to equalize the population throughout the districts. After that is completed, we do the MSTU districts to match the commission districts. When we did that back in 2022, the legal descriptions for the municipalities were included into the 3 MSTU districts, and this is an ordinance to just remove the municipalities from the section 71.73.a for the MSTU districts, and it's just lesses and accepts out the municipal boundaries of your MSTU districts. And with that, staff would recommend a motion. Move that the board adopt the ordinance amending section 71.73.a General Ordinances, Martin County Code, which sets forth revised commission MSTU boundaries, removing the incorporated municipalities.
After public comments, so moved.
Second.
Do we have any public comment? Seeing none. We have a motion by Commissioner Campy, seconded by Commissioner Heatherington. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Public hearing quasi-judicial number 2, public hearing to consider a request for a rezoning and approval of the Second Amendment to the South Florida Gateway Planned Unit Development PUD zoning agreement to add approximately 32.26 acres of undeveloped land. Mr. Brian Elam.
Morning, Chairman.
Commissioner, this Elise Elder, Deputy County Attorney. This is a quasi-judicial proceeding.
Okay, do we have any quasi? Commissioner Smith?
If I do, they're filed.
If any, they've been filed.
If any, they've been filed.
If I have any, they've been filed.
If I have any, they've been filed.
Okay, do we have the appropriate amount of paperwork transferred to the, yes, with your resume and such?
Copy of my resume and the agenda items.
Do we have any interveners?
No intervener.
No interveners? Would everybody stand and be sworn in that is going to testify?
Raise your right hands. Do you swear or affirm the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Notices.
Okay.
The notices, just mention the notices.
Notices were turned in at the LPA.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
All right. Morning, Chairman, Commissioners. For the record, Brian Elam, Principal Planner with the Growth Management Department. This is a request by South Florida Gateway Industrial LLC for the approval of the Second Amendment to the South Florida Gateway PUD, including a revised master site plan. Included with this application is an affidavit deferring public facilities reservation. This application proposes rezoning approximately 32.25 acres from the existing A2 agricultural district zoning to PUD by way of resolution, and to incorporate the 32.25 acres into the existing 184-acre existing PUD, South Florida Gateway PUD, by way of the proposed Second Amendment. No development is associated with this application. The subject site is located west of Southwest Canner Highway, approximately 0.6 of a mile south of the Southwest Canner Highway and Southwest 96th Street intersection. These pictures show the present state of the land. The subject site proposed to be added to the South Florida Gateway PUD, consisting of approximately 32.25 acres as part of the freestanding Urban Services District, and has an industrial future land use. Presently, its zoning is A2 Agricultural District, which is inconsistent with the industrial future land use. Last December, several comp plan amendments effectively completed a land swap between the two 32.25 acre parcels on the north and west sides. This parcel here. This parcel here. The parcel abutting the PUD to the west was removed from the freestanding Urban Services District, and its future land use was changed to industrial, and it was rezoned to agricultural AG 20A. The parcel abutting the PUD to the north, which is the subject of this application, had its future land use changed to industrial and was added to the freestanding Urban Services District. The result of the comp plan amendments was a no-net change in the approved freestanding Urban Services District area and a no-net change in the urban and agricultural acreage. The application was heard before the local planning agency on June 6th, and it was recommended, the LPA's recommendation was 4-0, I believe, all in favor of staff's recommendation. Development review staff have reviewed the application for South Florida Gateway Industrial LLC, and we find that it complies with the comprehensive growth management plan as detailed in the staff report. Staff recommends approval of this application. We move the board receive and file the agenda item and its attachments, including the staff report as Exhibit 1, and move the board adopt the resolution approving the rezoning from A2 Agricultural District to Planned Unit Development, and approve the Second Amendment of the South Florida Gateway PUD zoning agreement, including the revised master site plan. That ends the presentation. I'll take any questions.
Any questions for staff? Seeing none, Mr. Crady.
Good morning. For the record, my name is Morris Crady, here on behalf of the applicant, and we did provide the proof of notice to surrounding property owners at the LPA meeting. I do have a brief presentation just to give you an update on some of the site work that's been going on out there. Thank you. And I do agree with everything that Brian said and support the staff recommendations and conditions of approval. But this has been several steps in this process. The first step was the land swap, and that's why I have the arrow before you. This is the agricultural land that used to be industrial. This is the industrial land that's now within the freestanding urban service district, and as was mentioned, this is no longer in the freestanding urban service district. And it was done primarily because of the existing infrastructure on the site, particularly Southwest Gateway Place, which is an existing road, but this is the existing approved land use map that shows the industrial. So here today, we're adding it to the PUD. We'll be back before you again to do a plat of this parcel so that it can be conveyed, and then the ultimate use will be a final site plan on the property in the future. But this is the existing site as depicted on an aerial from last year. Southwest Gateway Place has now been completely constructed with an existing signal. We've completed several of the buildings out there. That's one of the reasons why we need this additional vacant land, because there is a demand for more buildings, and we've completed most of the infrastructure on the site. This is a landscape buffer that we committed to as part of the PUD agreement. It consists all of native vegetation. It's intended to screen the buildings by approximately 75%. And the buildings nonetheless still meet the county's architectural requirements, but we committed to doing a 30-foot buffer there just to maintain a nice scenic drive along Canner Highway. So this is Southwest Gateway Place looking west where the future building was going. This is a completed distribution center. So the new building will be on the opposite side of the street. You can see we've constructed not only the road improvements, also water and sewer lines will go right directly to the site. And Southwest Gateway Place, by the way, is a road that was constructed by the developer. It's maintained by the industrial park. It's not a county road, but it has been completed to county standards as well as all of the landscaping and infrastructure. And this is the end of the road. If you look on the aerial, that particular location is right about here. This is the building that you just saw completed. So we'll have direct access to utilities and access to Southwest Gateway Place signal at Canner Highway, which was a much better use of the industrial property than in its previous location, because it was not geometrically usable because of its configuration and based on the way the rest of the property was developed. But there's a building here now. There's a building behind that building on the frontage. This is the large building, and then Karis Cold is completing two buildings in this location that should be completed by the end of this year. So there's a lot of activity going on. The county purchased 30 acres right in this location, which is in industrial land, and they'll be working on Southwest Waterside Place, which is a public road to the county's parcel. So that's the only public road. The rest of the roads are private roads that will be maintained by the industrial park. And this is just a finished look of what's behind the distribution center. This is not your grandfather's industrial park. The developer had to meet the county's strict standards of water quality treatment. So before any of this water comes off the pavement, it has to go into these water quality treatment swells that then gets discharged into the lake system. And there's several lakes on the property that all act towards water quality treatment that have now been planted. There's thousands of native trees, oaks and pine trees and shrubs that have now been installed, littoral zones to improve water quality. And this is the current approved master plan. And what happens, this is the lake that you saw being constructed, and prior to discharge, the runoff from the pavement goes through a series of treatment ponds, eventually ending in this pond here, and then going through a drainage swell that eventually discharges into St. Lucie County, or the St. Lucie Canal. So this is one of the few projects that have been built to meet the county's strict water quality standards as far as industrial parks are concerned. And this is the revised master plan. All we're doing is adding this parcel to the existing PUD. The uses are all specifically described in the PUD, and they are geared towards targeted business and industries, and a lot of employment opportunity as a result. So with that understanding, we're asking you to support staff recommendation of approval. As mentioned, we had a unanimous support from the local planning agency and had no public opposition to this project whatsoever since day one.
Any questions for the applicant? Commissioner Hurd?
Yeah, Martin County's property is not within the freestanding urban service boundary?
No, it is. It's not in the PUD, but it is in the freestanding urban service district, and it's zoned general industrial.
I was looking at the red outline.
That was just the outline of the PUD.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
Okay, with that, do we have any public comment? Seeing none, Commissioner Campy.
Thanks to staff for putting that together. Mr. Crady, thank you for that update. I think a lot of folks that don't necessarily go driving past this are not familiar with this project. I'll make a motion to accept staff's recommendation based on the fact that as a county and as a tax base, we are sort of disjointed in terms of having a lot of the burden on residential and not enough on industrial. So I know the folks that have been working hard on this to sort of even up that balance. These projects bring in tax base without putting a burden on schools and beaches and libraries. So
Business Development Board helps with that.
yes, and we just heard the Business Development Board helped with this, which is excellent. And so these are the kind of projects that I think will help balance us out and even us out in taking some of the burden of level of services that our residents require from them to industrial properties. Thank you.
And I'll second it.
Okay, any other comments? No public comment, so we have a motion by Commissioner Campy, seconded by Commissioner Heatherington. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Opposed.
Motion carries 4-1. Commissioner Hurd dissenting. Moving on to Department Quasi-Judicial Number 3, request for approval of the revised master site plan for the Newfield Crossroads neighborhood, P172-018. Mr. Walden.
I don't even see the applicant here.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, they're here.
Okay.
We okay?
Expect to be next, that's all. We're good.
Well, you are next on the agenda. That's how it works.
Oh, sorry.
Who's counting? Forgot.
That's okay. We got it.
Unless you don't want to be next, we can do something different.
It's all good. Get down to. You got it? Okay.
Take a moment to just.
There we go. Thank you.
Commissioner, this is a quasi-judicial.
Nope, yes, it is. Again, okay. We have any, we do, and they've been filed.
They've been filed.
I do, and they've been filed.
I do, and they've been filed.
Yes, I have them and they have been filed.
I don't, and they've been filed.
Okay. Has the appropriate amount of paperwork, including your resume, been turned in?
It is now.
With any interveners?
No interveners.
No interveners and no notices required.
Okay, good. So everybody stand that would like to be sworn in, please.
Raise your right hands. Do you swear or affirm the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
You have the floor.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, members of the commission. Peter Walden, Deputy Growth Management Director. This is a request for Newfield for a revised master site plan for the Crossroads neighborhood. And it is requested by Mattamy Palm Beach LLC, represented by James Fitzgerald. This is a location map. It shows the Crossroads neighborhood. It is in basically the middle of the Newfield development. You see the C-23 canal to the north, which provides the boundary between St. Lucie County and Martin. Martin Downs to the east of the Florida Turnpike. The landfill and 7Js are to the west of the project, and Palm City Farms and Canopy Creek are to the south. This is an aerial of the section of, that we're dealing with today for the master plan for Crossroads. You can see most of it is existing agricultural uses. And this is the revised master plan. It shows the development committed to the Crossroads neighborhood. The plan shows the street network, the block structure, and the transect zones. By identifying the transect zones, you can extrapolate the unique characteristics of each area, such as density, build-to frontage, parking, placement, permitted uses, and building types. So you can get a good picture of what the development could look like once you dive into the code. The master plan provides the parameters of development available. It does not provide the exact building types, building placement of the site plans. So this is a side-by-side comparison. This is the approved master site plan that was approved 4 years ago now. And this is the revised master site plan before you today. I'll point out a couple of the minor changes. There's some block structure up in this corner here that has been changed. The alleys, the street network is made minor modifications. And there's a little bit different allocations of some of the transects. But they're very minor. The development criteria, the amount of homes, the amount of square footage, everything is the same. So some of the things that are going on currently in Newfield are, we have the master plan for this being revised. We also are looking at a master plan for the workplace district. There's several infrastructure plans already under review, where we're looking at vertical site plans. So all of these things are coming together, and that's why we're trying to get some consistency with the master. There's trailheads under review and approved. As you know, we came in recently with the Parks Master and Conservation easements, and we will be looking at a few code revisions for procedures and some of the things we've identified as we're getting into the development. We've noticed a few things that need updated. So development review staff have found the application to be in compliance with all applicable land development regulations and the comprehensive growth management plan, and recommends approval. And we'll move that the board receive and file the agenda item and its attachments, including the staff report as Exhibit 1, and move that the board approve the revised master site plan for the Newfield Crossroads neighborhood. I'd be glad to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions for staff? Seeing none.
Would you like to hear from the applicant?
Applicant would be great.
Here he is.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Thank you for your time and your leadership. Appreciate the opportunity to kind of present this item. First, I wanted to thank staff for having a great working relationship with us, for your professionalism and your attention to detail and swift action in putting this item before you today.
Do you mind stating your name for the record?
Sorry, I got ahead of myself. My name is James Fitzgerald. I work with Mattamy Homes. I'm representing the applicant and owner of over at Newfield. So after consultation with Marcella Camblor and Dover Cole, who's been working on the project since its inception and helped Knight Kiplinger, deliver and actualize kind of the vision onto paper, we decided that we wanted to bring forth a small improvement in our mind to the plan. And so what this does is it increases connectivity and walkability. We are essentially moving and combining just 2 blocks, and we're creating a green belt that provides some really good axial relationships between a future 50-acre natural public park and the downtown. We believe that, this is really an improvement, and, Newfield, in our mind, is really about the integration of the built environment with nature. We're very proud of the fact that we've had 70% preservation of open space, and now we have those deed restricting easements to ensure that, this area has development rights severed. It's going to be used for public benefit and preservation, and it'll be open to the public and funded by private dollars. So we're really excited about that, and we think that this is an improvement to the plan again, and we hope for your consideration of it.
Thank you, sir. Any questions, Commissioner Heatherington.
I don't have any questions, but I think that it is an improvement based on what I've seen and it's been described, and pending any public comment, I would gladly support and motion for staff's recommendation of approval.
Second.
Commissioner Hurd.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. So this is 139 acres, which is going to support 1,251 units, residential units, and 211,000 square feet of commercial?
That was the maximum that was in the approved master plan from 2020. We didn't make any changes to the density that was approved then.
So those are still the numbers that we're working with?
Yeah, that's the maximum. And then the small minor deviations that we did make actually added civic open space and reduced some of the building coverage from what was approved in 2020.
Thank you.
Commissioner Smith.
James, thank you. Thanks for the presentation. I appreciate your comments this morning. I think something that we should never lose sight on with this project, from the inception of the project to today, detail and what was on paper mattered. Knight Kiplinger spent an inordinate amount of time personally committing to our community, committing to us as the county commission, the amount and level of detail that this project would produce over decades, because it'll take that long. One thing that can't get lost in this process, and one of the reasons why we put it into its own comprehensive plan amendment, and all of the detail was excruciatingly laid out, is so that that vision didn't die somewhere along the line, and whether it's Mattamy or someone else subsequently doesn't come in and nip away at the detail that everybody works so hard on to get to. And so I appreciate the willingness and the want to commit to that. You have an amazing opportunity to create something equally as special, if not more so, than what Knight envisioned. And sticking to that that vision and that idea of what this place could be is the single most important. The detail, more so than any other development I think that's ever happened in Martin County, is the most important. And when I mean detail, I mean down to where things come, like moving this building from the lot that you're proposing it to the other, and how that interfaces with the natural land. The detail of what that looks like and how that acts for that community to be for the next 50, 100 years should be the same kind of reaction that people have when they go to the downtown portion of downtown Stewart. It is a special place. People love downtown Stewart. And the reason they love it is because 100 years ago, people put a lot of thought and energy into where things went, how they went. And I think the city has done a great job of protecting that core and those important elements of what make it so special. And so just please be mindful as the project out there evolves, that before it gets too far out of the box, come check with us, talk to us. And let us know what's happening, why it's happening, so that we don't lose that vision. Whether you're there, whether we're here, the idea of how this thing was laid out is that that vision will move on through time and won't lose focus, and it so easily can if it's allowed to. So thanks again for your thoughts, your comments, and we look forward to the next generation.
Thank you.
Commissioner Campy.
You're right, it is weird to go third. Some of the comments, so I'll just elaborate on some of what my colleagues had already said. I had the opportunity recently to sit down with Mr. Fitzpatrick and go through some of the pictures and the plans. You know, most of us, if not all of us, were here when Knight originally came forward to discuss what I call night vision, his night vision. And then I know that he carefully worked for a long time with Marcella and the team to find the perfect partner, because I had always said to him, it's one thing to have the vision, but when the partner shows up with all the money and has to physically do it, sometimes the vision can get lost. And I think he did a very remarkable job of finding Mattamy, who has proven itself elsewhere in the region, but I know that the level of detail and quality and thoughtfulness for this particular project, especially since it's in Martin County, was even operating at a higher level for you all. And I know you came in to be part of it. I think the most exciting thing is that as you start to really move these things from designs to reality, I think our residents will be thrilled. And I had mentioned to you the other day, the only time I ever hear real criticism is that it's taking too long and they want to already start to, people that are thinking about where will I live, and, younger people especially, the beautiful part of young people that either want to return here where they grew up or stay here will have the opportunity to do it with you all. So they're just waiting. I appreciate staff's also having to go through a level of review and detail that is different than what we have done in the past. As Commissioner Smith said, this whole project is operating at a very specific level. And some of it is new to how we would incorporate the relationship between our staff and you all as the applicant. I know with Mr. Donaldson's leadership, we can continue to streamline that. I appreciate that you came today. Appreciate that the way Mr. Walden laid out exactly why we're here and what we're doing. In the 50,000-foot view, you say, well, it's no big deal. These are minor changes, but they still have to be very carefully reviewed, and they were. I would hope in the future that some of these kind of details, although I'm happy to have you come and give us a little, update, that they don't always have to come for an update, unless you're specifically coming to say, hey, we got some great news. I would love the public to have an opportunity in this venue for you to show some of the visions that you guys have, especially for, you said it in passing, you said public park. This is genuinely a public park. It'll be, we just celebrated in Palm City a very small project that our staff worked hard on. And you are working on multiple sites like that, and the big site, the 50-acre site, will be remarkable. And, and it's not just going to be for the residents of Newfield. Obviously, primarily it will be for them, but it'll be an opportunity for people all over Martin County to come and enjoy retail and farming and nature trails. You've already done it. The green market was available and open to everybody, and every time my wife and I had happened to stop by to do it, it was packed. And people pushing baby strollers, and it was exactly what I think Madamy's vision is, and I think it is, Knight, I can't imagine how he and Ann could be more pleased with how this is going. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Smith.
And just one last little piece. It is so important that what Ed just said, what others have said, Knight has been part of this community for generations. And for me personally, to make sure that his Knight vision, Ed, thank you for that, that was great, carries on is super important. To the level of which, I feel a significant obligation tonight to make sure that what he envisioned happens. And so keeping Marcella involved, I hope that helps. You've got a great team of people. You've got some of the most amazing talent working with you that exist. Let's hopefully we keep it all together and keep it moving forward.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, do we have any public comment? Seeing none, we have a motion by Commissioner Heatherington,
Seconded by me.
seconded by you. Okay, because it's been a while.
Yeah.
Seconded by Commissioner Campy. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Opposed?
Motion carries 4-1 with Commissioner Hurd dissenting.
Thank you.
Mr. Elam, I suspect that your next item can't be done in 6 minutes, or can it? Okay.
You can name that tune in 4 notes.
Department Quasi-Judicial Number 1, request of an approval of Three Lakes Golf Club Plan Unit Development, PUD, Phase 2, Final Site Plan, B115-004.
2 minutes per lake.
And with that, do we have any, what you call them?
Ex parte?
Ex parte, geez. Any ex parte?
You and they are filed.
If any might have been filed.
If any of mine been filed.
I don't believe I have any, but if they have, they've been filed.
I don't have any, and they've been filed.
Okay. Would you turn in all the paperwork, including your resume? And all notices are turned
There's no
in?
notice for this.
No notices. Any interveners?
There's no interveners allowed.
Okay, would we like to be sworn in now?
Raise your right hands. Do you swear or affirm the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Thank you, Chairman. Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, Brian Elam, Principal Planner with the Growth Management Department. I've turned in a copy of the agenda item, my work history. This is a request by Lucido and Associates on behalf of Three Lakes Golf Club LLC for approval of the Three Lakes Golf Club PUD Phase 2 Final Site Plan. The proposed Phase 2 development is on approximately 282.14 acres of the 1,217-acre property. The Phase 2 development includes the 18-hole golf course, also known as the North Course, Performance Center, 8 golf cottages, East Golf Maintenance Building, Golf Training Center, and associated infrastructure. Included with this application is a request for a certificate of public facilities reservation. The property is located at 10980 Southwest Apogee Drive, generally west and east of Canner Highway, north of Southwest Bridge Road, approximately 1.3 miles southwest of Southwest 96th Street in Stewart. Earlier this year, in February, the future land use for the Three Lakes Golf Club was changed to rural lifestyle with the adoption of the Comprehensive Growth Management Plan, CPA 2211, and the zoning district classification was changed to PUD pursuant to the Three Lakes Golf Club Plan Unit Development Zoning Agreement. At the same time, the previously approved revised final site plan for the Three Lakes Golf Club was incorporated into the Three Lakes Golf Club PUD as Phase 1 final site plan. Phase 2 final site plan, as previously stated, this application is for the approval of the Phase 2 final site plan for the Three Lakes Golf Club PUD consisting of one 18-hole golf course, 8 golf cottages, the Performance Center, East Golf Maintenance Building, and the Golf Training Center. Pursuant to the PUD agreement, connection of water and wastewater services for all buildings in the Phase 1, except the West Maintenance Facility and Golf Shelter, are also part of this Phase 2 development. There's a look at the first page of the site plan. The highlighted areas show the locations of the Phase 2 development. View of this application was not required by the local planning agency. Development review staff has found the application to comply with all applicable regulations in the Comprehensive Growth Management Plan as detailed in the attached staff report. Staff recommends approval of the Three Lakes Golf Club PUD Phase 2 final site plan. We move the board receive and file the agenda item and its attachments, including the staff report as Exhibit 1. We move the board receive and file, I also needed to turn in as Exhibit 2 the applicant's work history. I apologize.
Don't let it happen again.
Sorry. Let me rewind time. Move the board receive and file the applicant's work history as Exhibit 2, and move the board approve the Three Lakes Golf Club PUD Phase 2 final site plan. And that concludes the presentation.
Okay, any questions for staff? Seeing none, Mr. Raines.
Good morning again, Commissioners. For the record, Bob Raines, land use attorney with the Gunster Law Firm here on behalf of the applicant. I appreciate you moving this forward before lunch. With that in mind, this is a straightforward approval for final, as Mr. Elam well pointed out, Phase 2 final site plan is consistent with the land use, the zoning, the PUD agreement, the master site plan, and therefore pretty straightforward. We have Mr. Crady here if you have any questions, but other than that, I'll reserve the right if I need to come back up, but we would just ask for you to make the, accept staff's recommendation as laid out by Mr. Elam.
Thank you, Commissioner Campy.
After public comment.
Do we have any public comment on this item? Seeing none, Mr. Campy.
Thank you. I've been an early adopter of this project. I think it's a great project for Martin County. I know that some people disagree with that, but I think a majority of our public will benefit in one way or another, if not directly, indirectly. It's 1,217 acres. It'll be used primarily as a golf course and the golf-related activities that go along with that, but it is a first-rate project. I've had the opportunity to tour it, not play golf, but to tour it. They've protected as many natural trees as they could in their original locations. The ones that they couldn't leave in their original locations, many of them were relocated and saved. It's going to draw water from the canal that won't find its way into our estuaries or at a tremendous volume that will be used to irrigate the course. They will be a large employer. They will be a large donator to local charities. I'm very pleased with this project, proud to make the motion to accept this next phase.
It is an amazing project. Commissioner Smith. Okay, with that. So I asked for public already.
You did?
So we have a motion by Commissioner Campy, seconded by Commissioner Smith. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Opposed?
Motion carries 4-1. Commissioner Hurd dissenting, and we are 2 minutes late for lunch, so we're going to break for lunch.